Hey everybody, welcome to Unscripted Access, episode number 114. You're here with your host, Nick McCandless. On this week's show, we have Bronson Fiore
What's up, everyone?
and Anthony Ta.
Hello.
Alright, so we're back with another episode of Unscripted Access. Kind of a slow week. We do have stuff to talk about, but it's just one of those times where it's the beginning of the new year. It's always slow. Things will probably start picking up back around maybe PAX East time. But it goes really slow, and then the months leading up to E3, it kind of gears up again. And then throughout the last half of the year, it's kind of, you get news bits here and there, but really half of the year is always pretty news lacking. But go news. So probably the biggest news this week is that Square Enix is teasing a PlayStation 4 exclusive, and it's being revealed on the 31st. So it's being revealed the day after this podcast comes out. It's called Project Code Z. Obviously, it's a project name. And they have set up a website. It's set to be revealed at the Tokaji Japan Game Party 2015. I don't know too much about that event, but obviously it's an event taking place in Japan, which makes sense coming from Square Enix. That's set to be revealed on the 31st. They have a website set up. If you go to the website, they have a Z, and then behind each Z, sometimes it changes, and it looks like they're more like fantasy style environments, which leads people to believe that's a JRPG coming from Square Enix. Very plausible. I'm not too big on Square Enix, but I know Anthony and Bronson, you guys tend to be more into the JRPGs. What do you guys think? Is this a game? Is there a specific game you want it to be? What game do you think it'll be, etc.?
I mean, Square Enix, to me, has not, produced a really great home console. Not portable. They're still doing pretty good in portable space. But a great home console RPG in almost 15 years. The last truly great Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy X. And the last truly great console RPG they made was Kingdom Hearts 2, which was 9 years ago. I'm excited to see what they'll put out, but I'm not exactly like, oh man, what could it be? Unless they decide to bring back the Chrono series, like Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, then I'll probably kind of lose my shit. What about you, Anthony?
It is. I'm looking at the site right now. I'm seeing all that background stuff that they're doing. It's so vague. It can be anything. It could be Final Fantasy 16. It could be, if it's like something that continues the Chrono series, hell yeah. It could be another portable game. It could be their next huge.
Well, it's not portable because it's PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Oh right, sorry, sorry, my bad. It could be anything. Like, I'm looking at it right now. I don't know what it is. It's too vague. It's just a bunch of concept art that could be Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy could travel at any point in time at this point. If you wanted fantasy, you go play 14. And if you wanted the future, you played 13 or 15 or something like that. New franchise? Maybe.
That's always a possibility.
That's always a possibility. Like, a new generation brings new IP. Because, you're kind of not really stuck in the old days as much. Could be that.
Could it be really any worse than the Final Fantasies we've had?
Probably not, if they're making a big deal out of it. Final Fantasy 13, despite the fact that, the original 13 was a disappointment everywhere outside of Japan, they still kept going with it. And still hyped it up as their biggest flagship. That's
the Final Fantasy name.
Final Fantasy 16 could be a thing before 15 even came out. It's possible. If it's Chrono, hell yes. Could be a new franchise, could be some.
My nightmares could have come true and they bought Atlas, and that's Persona 5.
I highly doubt Persona 5 has the artwork that I'm seeing on the Z right now. It's definitely not anime-like.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Thank Christ.
It just
you
kind of.
You don't want Atlas to become the next Rare?
Fucking don't even play, dude. Don't even play. I am fucking cranky as shit tonight. I have had a long day, and this podcast is gonna be my outlet.
Look. Even if Alice got bought, at least Platinum Games still has a hope.
Yeah, Platinum Games. If Platinum, like Nintendo, needs to fucking pay Platinum Games whatever amount of money they demand.
That's what they did with Monolith. Like Monolith used to make like Xenogears on PlayStation quite a lot, and then Nintendo bought them, and now they're making Xenoblade. And Xenoblade is like one of those special niche franchises that now exists under the umbrella of Nintendo. So hey,
I mean, like I played Bayonetta 2 and The Wonderful 101 and Vanquished, and pretty much everything they've made except for Mad World, and all of it were amazing, well polished games except for Anarchy Reigns, and even Anarchy Reigns was at least fun. So Nintendo needs to cut them a fucking huge check and say we own you now.
That would be nice. Like in the case of Nintendo, it would be like, oh crap, we have no third parties? Fine, we'll just buy them.
I mean, that seems like a good idea.
I mean, they could. Platinum Games would be stoked because then they have Nintendo resources to make stuff they want, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Look how their two Nintendo... Look at the two games Nintendo financed. Look how those turned out. So good.
Yeah. But as for Project Code Z, too vague. No clue. Could be anything. Looks fantasy. I know that much, because none of this art I'm looking at is sci-fi. Or it could be doing what Final Fantasy does, which is try and mash the two together into one interesting mix that...
That rarely works. Outside of, like, a couple of games. That rarely works outside of, like, 3 games.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, it worked, I'll say this, it did work with, like, Final Fantasy 7 through 10. And that was pretty much it. Yeah?
Yeah. A lot of good execution, but I don't know. I look at the art and for some reason I think old school Final Fantasy in some way. I'm thinking Fairy Fencer F, but I'm also not very familiar with their entire portfolio. So yeah. It's going to be interesting.
But we'll find out Saturday.
We'll find out Saturday. We'll find out. Actually, for us, it will be sort of Friday, I think, because I think Japan is on the other side of the international date line, so they're like a day ahead of us.
Doesn't really matter to me either way, because Anthony, Saturday I kind of forgot to tell you about this, but we got a little extra thing to take care of beyond our regular recording.
Yeah. Okay.
So and it involves driving and recording.
That's fine. But hey, this could be exciting or it could be disappointing.
It's Square Enix, so it'll probably be disappointing.
Exciting disappointment.
That could be true as well.
That is what Final Fantasy 13 was. You were excited for it, and then you were disappointed. And Square Enix now is more like... I understand that they have all these studios, but it's not like Final Fantasy is on fire. I mean, like, the new Final Fantasy game that's like a Type 0 HD, that's a PSP remake now.
Yeah, as far as I
believe. It's a PSP game because I know that they made it before because the CG doesn't look fancy enough and it existed in theater, which tells me it's a game in the past. I think.
Yeah.
Let me look it up.
You're probably right. No need to. Like, we know.
But,
look. Yeah, it was a PlayStation portable game from 2011. And yeah, I can already tell why they're porting it elsewhere. Yeah, it's not like Final Fantasy is on fire. Like, 11 is an MMO, 12 was 13, 14 was, oh man. Then 14 redone was, okay, yeah, it's okay now. It's the second most popular MMO as far as I'm aware. 15 is getting everyone stoked again. Why? I really don't know why. It's just like, guys, just lower the hype a little. It's not like Final Fantasy's on a roll again or something.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm actually kind of excited for Final Fantasy 15 because they're basically making Final Fantasy Road Trip. And
I mean, yes, but they just showed you like trailers, and I just remember it just like
they showed a gameplay trailer. Like there's one out.
Yeah, okay, there's one out, but it's just like this is 13 verses, which we put on a shelf the whole time for one guy to keep alive so it doesn't get canceled somehow. And now that, how long has it been now? 6 years?
It's like technically
7
that
years?
that game was unveiled in like 06, 07, so it's been
So
like
it's been like almost 8 years.
it's been like 9 years if you want
So
to.
yeah, and then it's like, okay, so we're gonna take 13 verses and we're gonna make it 15 now for PS4 and Xbox One, and so we're gonna take a PS3 game that almost got shelved or just kind of sat on the shelf for a while, and then we're gonna turn it into a PS4, Xbox One. I don't know. I just look at that game and I'm just like, I'm not really excited because when you take 13 verses and change it to 15 and then have to redo it over so it actually, because you took so long with it, and I'm pretty sure the development team has had like maybe five changes in the manager position or something. It's just, oh man. Just like, guys. Because
remember when Final Fantasy 13 was announced that it was coming to the Xbox and the world like blew up?
oh yeah, I remember watching that. I just sat and like freaking the internet broke. I just remember everyone was losing their crap because it's like Sony's losing ground to Microsoft. That was the general reaction.
My big thing I remember about that is like being kind of excited at the time, but then immediately realizing why the fuck do I care? Because I like just borrowed my cousin's PS4 to beat Metal Gear and decided, or not PS4, PS3. Wow, we really are the next gen. Okay.
Yep.
But to borrow his console so I could play Metal Gear 4, loved it, and decided that is worth owning a PS4, PS3. Jesus, to play again and again and again, and I was like, well, fuck it. This has no impact on me, but it has impact on probably a lot of other people.
Well, here's the thing. Like for me at the time, it was kind of a nice thing to be able to play Final Fantasy on my 360 because I didn't have a PS3 yet. Granted, I get it. Like it came on 3 DVDs. Came on 3 DVDs, and installing that game was fun, to say the least. Came on 3 DVDs. It came on 3 DVDs. The game does not run at 720p. It runs at like 576p or something like that. Some awkward resolution. The CG cutscenes had YouTube compression, and because it was a DVD that spun fast, obviously the system was louder. So yeah, there were sacrifices you had to make it when you got the 360 version. But hey, it's fine. Yeah, I look back at it now, and I just think, man, I think it coming to 360 wasn't the worst thing that ever happened. It's not like you're just like, oh, Sony's losing ground because they've lost it. And I'm just like, yeah, but the PS4 version is clearly the better one still.
I mean, yeah, like if you were playing it on 360, you only had a 360, or you just fucking didn't have a
and we kind of live we kind of live in an era now where third parties are just kind of like multiply all the time, because to me it's like, oh, it came to Xbox One, that was surprising, but I didn't think it was like the biggest deal in the world because freaking Final Fantasy 11, it was on PS2, but it was also on PC, and it's also and it was also on 360, and
man, that was weird at the time too. Like, you want to talk about weird things about the 360, like, well, you need a gold subscription to play online, but except for this one game where you just need a subscription in it, and you can play it online without a gold subscription.
Or you need a Xbox Live subscription to use Netflix, even though you're paying for Netflix.
Yeah, that was dumb. Yeah, that lasted way too long too. That was really stupid.
That made no sense.
No, here's something dumber. Like this was until last year. To use Internet Explorer, you had to have a gold subscription. I'm not joking.
Like, first off, that implies that using Internet Explorer is a privilege, which we all know that is not the case. But man, like, the fuck, the main reason I was happy about them getting rid of all that subscription shit was for like all their side services. It meant I didn't have to keep my gold subscription up all the time. Like, I used to have to keep my gold subscription up all the time because my mom would want to use Netflix. I keep the 360 in the other room because, I don't really play it all that much. So I keep it in the other room for other people to use as a Netflix box or, whatever they want to do with it. And I, sorry, and I just had to keep it running. So when they canceled, I was like, "Fuck yes! I only have to pay for this when I'm actually using Xbox Live." Which now that the Halo collection is out, is all the fucking time. So great.
But yeah, it just, I mean, like Final Fantasy coming to 360. Yeah, I didn't think that was the biggest deal. It's just third parties these days are just all moving to multiplats now. Really,
I mean, like realistically,
it's not like in the old days where you had this gigantic gap, at least as far as media, between the N64 and the PS1. Like really different systems right there.
Or like you look at every other console war up until like PS2 and Xbox and GameCube, like up until that point, everything had just massively different games. Then that generation, it just like everything was going to everything. Like yeah, there were some third party exclusives, like a decent amount, but not many. Then last generation, it barely mattered. There were barely any, and this generation, there's even fucking less.
I mean, it's like PS4 and Xbox 360 are PCs. They use x86 architectures. They get their chips from the same company.
Both have a Blu-ray drive.
And they share similar architectures.
PS4 is a decent, a bit more powerful, but not like, wow, these are fucking insane. I would say that, like, for the average person, the average gamer, you only need to own one of these boxes.
Currently.
Yeah, currently. Like what?
Metal Gear's coming. Like freaking Metal Gear's coming to both systems.
Oh yeah, for a casual gamer, yeah.
Even a hardcore gamer, it's like, I mean, yeah, there are probably some crossover between the person who likes Uncharted and the person who likes Halo. Like I'm sure that is totally a thing, but you know, like I sit and I think about it, and I'm just like, well, you know, but the average person only likes one of those, or only like a perfect example of this. Like someone's gonna buy a PS4, even if they like Halo, and they're gonna love it. And then the Xbox One's gonna come out. It's just like, do I really want to spend $350 to just pretty much play Halo?
Like for me, this year I have to think, do I really want to buy an Xbox One just as a Forza box? I mean, that's the only big reason I have right now, and the $350 price. That's nice too. But it's like the only games I'm going to really play on, because here's the thing, recently I've been plugging my 360 in a lot just so I can play Forza 4. Why? I don't know. I just want to buy some random Mustang and then just put a supercharge on it. Just want to randomly doing that. I'm doing that more often than I do in Gran Turismo. So it's just like, man, I could buy an Xbox One for Forza 6 this year.
I mean, yeah, if I didn't own an Xbox One right now, I would think about buying one, but that's because it's at the point where there's like, okay, there are enough exclusives on this thing where like buying one doesn't seem like the worst idea in the universe. So that was my take on it. But for the average person, like I know so many people that I have on my friends list on both systems where I'm just like, nah, you can wait. Or just buy the PS4. Games will look better. They have better first-party exclusives. Like my general consensus is you should buy a PS4, even though they don't have that many games right now. That said, you can't go wrong with either box right now. It's like what are the big third-party exclusives this upcoming year? Street Fighter and Tomb Raider. Everything else is on both boxes. That's not a first-party game. You know, Batman's on both, Metal Gear's on both, Final Fantasy's on both. This last year, like everything was on both.
Well, we have one coming from Square Enix.
But yeah, well, whatever that fucking game is, hopefully it's not terrible.
I mean, judging from the artwork, this is not going to be Final Fantasy PS1, now exclusive to PS4. I'm not joking. That announcement they made at the Sony event for Final Fantasy VII, I'm just like, really?
God. Like,
really?
They have the Final Fantasy VII logo come up, and they just it looks like it's fucking finally happening. Final Fantasy fucking VII is finally coming to the modern day. They're remaking it. It's gonna fucking look amazing. Those cutscenes are gonna look like all those cutscenes that looked awesome back in the day that look horrible now are gonna look like Advent Children now. And then they're like, we're porting the PC version to PS4 with trophies.
It was just too much to
Like,
ask.
are you fucking serious?
Hey,
like-
Final Fantasy VII for PC.
Like,
Oh my goodness.
oh, with trophies, which actually, like, as someone who's been meaning to re-beat Final Fantasy VII, like, okay, maybe I'll think about it. Like, I'll sit there and like have that like, is it really worth wasting $10 to $15 to play through this fucking game again? Yeah, like that. Yeah, because I own it on Vita and PS4 and PSP because it's cross-buy. But I mean, man, that's just that was dumb. But I mean, still, like you're saying, you even this past year, like Dragon Age both, Far Cry both, Assassin's Creed both, Call of Duty both. Like there's not much that's like, oh fuck, that's only on the one.
Yeah, the only difference is, like you said, most games look better on the PlayStation. Well, they either look the same or better on the PlayStation 4.
And even then, it's not that huge of a difference. Like, it's not like, holy shit, this is mind-bogglingly different. Like, it's like, you can kind of notice that if you're putting them side by side, but for the most part, not really. But that can change. Like as the generation goes on, it could be, things can change. I don't know, man. Anyway, well, what's next?
So before we go into the next news topic, I was just looking in the PlayStation Store, and did you know that that Duck Dynasty is on the PlayStation 4?
Like the video game?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that game was one of the worst games of last year, and it was on like everything.
I did not know there was a Duck Dynasty game.
There's a game for just about every popular TV show
Wow, I
out
was
there.
completely out of the loop on that one.
I can't believe something as horrible as Duck Dynasty is as popular as it is.
Well,
agree.
let's see. If the masses watch the show, they might make a game. It's not going to be good, but the game will exist.
No, I am saying, like, why does Duck Dynasty exist? Not the video game.
I know people watch it.
Like why do people
It's
watch
controversial, and that causes people to look.
I don't... Watching a bunch of really, really wealthy rednecks hunt ducks never seemed controversial to me. What? That's what it is. It's a bunch of fucking rednecks.
Maybe it's the drama? I don't know. How did reality TV get popular? Besides the fact that a normal person can be a star. I'm talking about like dumb reality TV.
Because people like watching,
Kardashians.
trashy television and emotional breakdowns and false drama.
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe Doug Dynasty. I don't know much about the show. I don't watch TV. So.
I watched when I still had cable last 2 years ago now. It came on once and I watched it. I'm like, this is like shows like this are what's gonna doom humanity. And here we are. And here we are. 2 years later, there's a Duck Dynasty video game, and is the world any better? Nope. So there you go. Duck Dynasty, dooming humanity.
I did not know there was a Duck Dynasty game. Wow. Well, anyways, let's continue with the news. So, you know that thing called the PlayStation Vita?
What? Oh, you know what? We talk a lot of yag about that system, but I'm actually reviewing a game for it that's coming out next week. So it's actually not too bad, although playing it on the bus makes me feel slightly uncomfortable. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, so the PlayStation Vita is not getting any better. It's actually getting worse. PlayStation Vita will be losing Maps, Nier, and YouTube in March.
Okay, so
Don't understand.
Maps
Don't understand
never really...
why, but Sony has announced that in March there'll be an update and it will be removing those apps.
So Nier was always like a bad, stupid version of Street Pass. So I don't, whatever. That's my response to that. Whatever. And then what's the other one? Maps. Who the fuck uses their Vita for maps?
Does it have GPS built in?
No, it has.
Then
3G.
it has no. Then it has no point. Then.
Yeah, unless you have the 3G Vita, you're one of those 4 people who have that.
I actually got the 3G one because I was hoping the platform would do really well, and I'd actually have a reason to subscribe to the 3G service. But
I wrote an article about how that system was. It's gonna probably do what the PSP does and get owned, but still be successful. Man, I was right about it getting owned. I didn't think
you were wrong about being successful, though.
I did not think that I thought it was gonna be like DS versus PSP, where it was like, yeah, the 3DS is gonna double or triple this thing's sales, but it'll still do well. No, I was very wrong about that. But anyway, and then YouTube, that's a bummer. What are they just making it so the web browser's better so you can watch it on that, or what? Have they said why?
No, they haven't explained why at all.
The fuck? Okay, that is weird. But are they just removing it from the store? So can I still use the app if I have it installed?
Oh wait. Okay, so here's the thing. So Google is shifting the YouTube API from V2 to V3. So pretty much Sony is not wanting to update the app, assuming because people probably don't use it.
Because a whole 4 people own Vitas and 3 of them work for the Gamer Access.
I have not used my Vita in so long. Last time I used it was to test out, to try out some remote play. That was the last time I used it.
Let's see. Last time that I used my Vita, well, no, like I said, I used it recently because of that game I'm reviewing. But the last time that I wasn't for a review and I was just I'm gonna play a Vita game was for PlayStation 1 games. And then on top of that, I bought, or I didn't buy. They gave it to me for free. The Unfinished Swan. That was a really awesome game on the PS3, and it's cross-buy with the Vita. And I played that, and I was like, oh wow, that's nice to actually use this system once in a while. That system has just become something I play Japanese games on and indie games. What's really funny though? I'm actually really looking forward to a Vita game this year. It's gonna be on my top 10 most anticipated games list. I'm not going to tell anyone where on the list, but Cosmic Star Heroine. This is a game I actually bothered to kickstart. I'm super excited for it. It's from the guys who made the Penny Arcade game and Cthulhu Saves the World. It's the way they advertised it. It's like Phantasy Star meets Chrono Trigger, and I'm like, that deserves all my money. If that turns out half as good as promised, that deserves every last bit of my money. One thing that's irritating me about the Vita is one of the most popular games in Japan on the Vita, and one that everyone wants them to bring to America is Phantasy Star 2, and they just refuse to do it. I would pay absurd amounts of money to play Phantasy Star 2 in English. In fact, I feel that's just my relationship with the Vita at this point. Just I would love to play X game if you bring it to America, but you're never going to because it would sell like shit here.
So just wondering, did Maps run on Google or something?
Maybe.
Does it use Google Maps?
I believe so.
I mean, with Maps kind of killed off, you use Google Maps and they kicked out YouTube. Did Sony just decided they don't want to work with Google with their Vita now?
That'd be a really dumb decision, but I wouldn't put it past Sony.
As for Nier, yeah, I don't know if anybody uses Nier.
No,
nobody uses Nier.
No one used it when it came out. I remember the year the Vita came out, and I went to the Giant Bomb panel at PAX. They everyone who's Street Pass, and the entire fucking audience holds up 3DSs, right? Just everyone holds up 3DSs. And then Jeff Gerson's all right, Vitas, Nier! And then, one dude holds up a Vita, and I hold up a Vita. And it's just the fuck. So,
that's funny.
Yeah, man, and I feel it's bad for the Vita, because, there are some great games on the Vita if you are willing to go find them. but you have to go find them. And no one wants to go do that. So yeah, like Axiom Verge looks cool next year. Like I talked about, I think Comic Star Heroine looks really cool next year. Problem is though, is like how many people actually know about those games? Before I mentioned it just now, had either of you heard of either of those games?
Nope.
Okay, there you go. And that's also why I'm employed here, everyone. See, I did two magic tricks at once. God.
All right. Moving on to better news for Sony, this time with the PlayStation 4. Particularly good news for me, something I've been wanting for a long time. I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before. Spotify is coming to the PlayStation 4, which is awesome because I am an avid Spotify user. I pay the $10 a month or whatever, and I pretty much can download as many songs as I want to. There's streaming, but the ability to download as many songs as you want to locally, so you don't have to have a data connection and still be able to listen to the music. Pretty amazing for only $10 a month. And they pretty much have almost everything you could think of on there. So Sony is working with Spotify, and they're calling it PlayStation Music. They will be getting rid of their existing Music Unlimited service. Music Unlimited service will be shutting down on March 29, 2015.
All right, so here's my question to Sony. Why the fuck can't I use my fucking media server or connect any USB device to that system to listen to music? Or, God, this list just goes on and on and on. Like, there's so many fucking things that I'm just like, Sony, what? Like, this thing doesn't have like a quarter of the functionality of the PS3 when it comes to like playing media, and it pisses me off just so bad.
A media server, I understand, because to set up a media server is kind of complicated and kind of annoying. Plugging in USB, yeah, I agree.
Like, you can't even rip CDs to the fucking thing. Can that thing play CDs yet? Has anyone bothered to check?
I don't know. I think that all comes down to the percentage of people who would actually do those things. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
is it
but
worth
a low percentage of people use.
Is it worth that week's worth of time of resources to test it and implement into the console when they could be spending that week doing something else?
I think it is worth it.
I would ask the same thing about their internet browser and YouTube.
I agree.
Like, who uses
YouTube? I think is a little bit different because YouTube's starting this thing where you can start uploading your content. I know, but like a YouTube app for you to watch YouTube videos on your PS4, when your TV, your computer, and your more accessible phone already does it.
Yeah. Because I don't.
That I can understand a little bit more though, just because if you want to watch YouTube on your TV, if your TV for some reason does not have it, it's more accessible with the PlayStation 4. But I'm not saying they shouldn't have it. I'm just saying I can understand why they want it.
I am saying that in the case of, you know, I know plenty of people who would love to have custom soundtracks in games again. For those who moved from 360.
The good thing with this PlayStation Music, which they're calling it PlayStation Music, which is really confusing, but reality it's Spotify. It's Sony working with Spotify. It's not their own service, which I am very happy about. Because, like I said, I love Spotify with a passion. But you will be able to play Spotify in the background of all your games.
That's awesome. But I own all this fucking music on CDs I collected over the years, or, you know, I've downloaded on iTunes.
This way, all that music you own is probably on Spotify,
but
so you don't have to worry.
You have to pay for Spotify. Like,
no, you can stream for free.
Okay, that's all right. That's true, I guess.
Yeah, Spotify. There's a lot of features that are free.
Yeah, I have, you know, I will say I do use Spotify for one thing. There's this YouTuber whose videos are amazing I watch called The Completionist. and he has he does with every weekly video he does a playlist on Spotify of music that's good to play that game with. And that was that's probably the primary thing I use it for. The thing is, I might have to pay for it to use it on PlayStation. I don't know. I guess that's good, but I still wish this was like the 360, where it's like I plugged my phone into the console and boom, all my music.
There's okay, so like plugging your phone into the system. If it's an iPhone, it probably won't work because I think Apple kind of sort of locks it out. But that would make sense.
It worked on the 360, but you had to
Like
download a special codec.
Like old iPods, yeah, definitely. The iPhones, I don't remember. I'm not sure because I remember I tried plugging my iPod Touch into my PS3 and it didn't work.
Yeah,
But
I'm saying like I know on the 360 it worked, but you had to download a special codec.
the other reason why Sony will probably lock out the media is, oh no, gotta pay the royalties. But at the same time, I'm sitting here and I'm like, how expensive are those royalties? Because obviously some of the codecs like WMV, I think MP3 is one. I don't know. Probably isn't because otherwise Nintendo would have not put MP3 in there. So I don't know. It's just like media. Sometimes you have to have codecs and that kind of stuff. Like you put Dolby Digital capability into your system, you actually have to pay Dolby to be allowed to do that. You can't just stick it in there. So, or their operating systems team is too busy trying to make the PS4 run faster than working on media.
I think that's what it is. I think it's just once it gets to the time that the team has nothing to do, that's when we'll see those updates come in.
It's probably going to come in like towards the PS4's end of the lifetime or something.
Yeah.
It's like that one random browser update they did to the PS3 a few years back was like, where'd that come from?
Well, that just comes from, we're paying these guys. We have to have them working on something, yet we have nothing else to work on. Update the internet browser.
Also, the other thing that I kind of want to point out is like back in the day, I feel like today, because of the advent of headphones everywhere and earbuds and portable music players, people are just kind of bringing their music more on the go instead of playing it on their TV. But then why would you want to play your music on your TV when the speakers on your TV aren't that good? And who has the money to own a home theater system?
I am saying that I own you're right about the home theater system thing. But I also own a really badass set of headphones with a mix amp that makes things sound even better. But I can't run, and I have my PlayStation hooked up to those headphones most of the time. And that mix amp and the fact that I can't listen to my music, really irritating. Like, granted, it's not that hard to flip it over to the PS3 and listen to it on it, but removing all the functionality, a lot of the functionality in your old console and your new one is irritating.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of music I own as well, but I don't even mess with it anymore because I have everything on Spotify. It's so convenient. All the music I own is in Spotify. So I spent a couple minutes going through Spotify. Okay, here's this album, here's this album, here's this album. Let me download all of this. Bam. Got it all. I can access it instantly on all of my devices.
You have to remember, Nick, that when it comes to my music taste, I am a bit of a hipster. Like, not even gonna fucking lie.
I'm pretty sure Spotify. I have songs I did not think would be on Spotify, and they're there.
I have too, but there's some stuff that isn't there also. It's fucking annoying. So, yeah. Anyway, what's next?
So yeah, PlayStation Music, that will be coming soon.
Sorry, I just want to point out, just like them bringing their music services to the PS3 has always been a strange thing. Because I actually tried Music Unlimited like twice ever. One was when they said sorry that PSN broke, the PSN hack thing outage from a long time ago. They gave everyone like a free month of Music Unlimited. And the other thing I remember was, hey guys, here's Curiosity, which became Music Unlimited, which now has been discontinued for PlayStation Music. I'm curious as to how many people actually use it.
So-
Which is very misleading because PlayStation Music makes you sound like, oh, it's a PlayStation Music service, when in reality it's Spotify put into a PlayStation app.
Well,
Like there may be some PlayStation only features, and I think they didn't say that there's more to be announced. That there's going to be PlayStation only features with this partnership. But to call it PlayStation Music, I guess it's branding, but
to be honest, Microsoft killed Zune and
misleading,
started
too.
shoving Xbox onto just about everything, including their PC end. So
Also, Xbox Music is actually pretty good for a subscription service. Like, I had a trial, and I was like, yeah, you know, the only reason I'd really pay for this is to have custom soundtracks, but, not bad. Like, and they also had a surprising amount of music. I was like, wow, I'm surprised you actually have these obscure bands I like.
nifty.
cool. All right, well, let's continue with the news then. PlayStation will be having a private media event in New York in February where they're set to have announcements. A new PlayStation initiative, to be specific, will be announced. A new PlayStation initiative. What exactly that is, who knows? But Sony did announce the PlayStation.
Revive the Vita. That's their game plan. This is it. This is the push, right? Right?
Honestly, if I'm Sony, like, I know you want that, Bronson. Us Vita owners want that. As Sony, it does not, from a business standpoint, it doesn't make. It's at that point where it's like, just let the Vita do what it's doing. Like, just let it eventually just die off, because you got the PlayStation 4, which is making shitloads of money and still selling incredible numbers month by month. And there's actually a great future ahead for the PlayStation 4. So why allocate resources and time and budget towards a Vita that at this point is pretty much impossible to bring back up top? Or you could spend all of those resources on the PlayStation 4 and keep the PlayStation 4 going at high speed. Business standpoint, doesn't make sense.
I know. But hey, this is the same company that said, hey, you want to know how we're going to revive the PSP? You want to know how we're going to boost the PSP up to #1? Making the PSP Go, which wasn't the worst fucking idea in the world, actually, until they announced the price. And then the digital store comes out, and it has a shit ton of games, but it doesn't have all the games. And massive ass titles like Kingdom Hearts cannot be played on the PSP Go. And it's just like, oh. Now, granted, the PSP was slightly more successful than the Vita is.
I think PlayStation's a whole nother company since then, though. Like, they're just a lot smarter and...
Yeah, they're not making dumbass decisions all the time, and then having to make up for them.
When was the last dumb decision Sony made? Like, the last big dumb decision. I'm trying to think.
Well, I have one in my messenger bag right now, and it's called the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah, they messed up bad on the Vita. I think they realized they're just done with...
I think, like, and here's the thing, a couple of tweaks and the Vita would have done well. Like, those couple of tweaks that needed to happen. One, built-in storage and or cheaper memory cards. That's the first one. Okay, you got PlayStation Plus, all these free fucking games coming to the thing. And, like, the 64 gig is not in America, but it's $100. The 32 gig is like $70 on Amazon. And it goes down as that. But, like, that's fucking madness. Like, I paid $60 for a 16 gig card for my Vita when it launched. I bought an SD card for my 3DS because Nintendo is smart like that, and it cost me $12 for the same amount of space. So one, the memory, that would have been fixed. Two, look, I realized at the time they were probably eating cost on the thing, but they needed to find a way to make that system $199. I don't care how they were going to do it, but they needed to find a way. 3G was fucking stupid in general. Like, I knew, like, 3G is just not fast enough to game on consistently unless you're playing something like Hearthstone. And trust me, I know because I try, I on a bus quite frequently. And when the Vita came out, I was still in college, so I was also on a bus quite frequently. And you just cannot get, and you can just not get reliable enough speeds for gaming on the go typically with that thing. Like if you're staying in one place, maybe. Um, and last, shovel money into franchises people actually care about, like you did on the PSP. Like, they made Uncharted, they made Little Big Planet, they made Killzone, and that was fucking it. Oh, and Tearaway. So they made like 4 games where, like, you list off all the awesome Sony games for the PSP. It's like Resistance Retribution was awesome versus Resistance Burning Skies on the Vita, which was rushed out and terrible. I was way too kind to that game.
Do you know what I remember was like, yeah, this system needs a big killer app to sell it. Call of Duty. Oh.
Call of Duty. Oh. And not just
I was not joking. It was like the quality of that game just kind of felt like they started working on it the moment they found out the announcement was made.
Yeah, that game was definitely like that. Resistance Burning Skies, I gave a 6. Like, I was kind of a bit nicer to it because it was the first shooter on the system. In hindsight, probably should have gave it like a 5.5 or 5. Oh well. But no, man, like, those were the tweaks that the Vita needed to succeed. A little bit lower on the price. Not like, I remember when they announced that, like, oh man, this thing's gonna have, be only $250, same price as the 3DS. And then they announced the memory card thing, and it just took all the fucking wind out of their sails. Just every last bit of fucking wind out of their sails right then and there. And then Nintendo, if they want to sell a handheld, they just have to say Mario, Zelda, Pokemon.
Look, it's cheaper.
They lowered the price because Nintendo actually knows what they're doing when it comes to handhelds. Sony.
Yep. Well, their handheld department is now their console department. They basically put the two together for better synergy.
And look how the Wii U has rebounded in the past year. Look how that turned around just real quick in a year. Maybe not on the sales front. Well, even on the sales front, they're doing better. Like, not as good as the other two, but they're doing better at least.
Yeah, I think the Wii U is just going to end up like the GameCube, where it sells, but the Wii is just, that's something that will probably never happen again.
Yeah,
that was just a revolution in gaming. That's gaming used to be this thing where, yeah, you have to actually, most people that were, for example, obviously there's the rare circumstance, but most people did not have their grandparents playing video games. But the Wii opened that up because of how easy that it made playing games, and the fact that they had huge hits such as Wii Sports and Wii Fit, which I'd be curious to know
with the console.
I'd be curious to know how many people bought the Wii for Wii Sports and then never bought a single game. Because I'm sure there's a decent, decent percentage.
Like my, my grandmother, she heard about the Wii and she ended up buying one, and they're one of the very few families who now they own a 360 and play Tiger Woods and other games on it. So, but man, to sell a Vita, Sony put out Uncharted. Uncharted did really well, especially considering the install base. And then they needed more games like that, but they just weren't willing to pay to get them out. People
weren't going to develop for a platform that wasn't selling.
Yeah.
Man, it's a circular loop when it comes to that.
It's
like developers aren't making games for the Vita, therefore customers don't want to buy the Vita because there are no games for it, and then developers don't make games for it because there's nobody buying it. It's just this endless loop.
Nintendo had the same fucking problem, but Nintendo said, here, we're going to shove money into making Mario, Zelda, Star Fox, and Mario Kart. We're going to throw money at this. Sony decided, fuck it. That's pretty much what happened there. They like I said, they made those 4 games, and 2 of them did well, and then we're like, fuck it. That's pretty much what happened. Versus Nintendo, who constantly were making games for the 3DS, still are. Like every holiday, like last year was the worst year for the 3DS, and it still had a bunch of really good games. So, like, yeah, so like, and most of them made by Nintendo. Yeah, they're great third-party games on the system, but yeah.
Yeah, at the Spike VGAs a couple years ago, I interviewed Kojima, and I asked him about the Vita, and this is like, remember, this is like before the Vita was officially like dead. This was where it was like it's kind of losing hope, but not officially. And asked him, and he said he was interested in the platform, but there has to be more units. It's just like, yeah, like think about how good a Metal Gear could be on the Vita, but why would
Peace Walker, like you look
why
at
would
Peace
they
Walker,
invest potentially $100 million into building a Metal Gear when there isn't even the install base to make your money back?
I mean,
you don't do that.
You look at like Peace Walker on the PSP, and it's this amazing, huge fucking game. And you're like, what would a Vita one be like? You're like, wait, oh, they're never gonna make it.
Remember how there used to be how they were gonna bring out BioShock on the Vita, and that got canceled because
that got shit canned. Yeah.
Yeah, because why? It's like even if you got the game half done, okay, well we're gonna spend another $20 million to finish this game. Oh wait a second, why spend $20 million when we're not even gonna make $20 million in sales? Where we can just stop this and then cut down our losses.
Yeah, not only that, but like you have to factor in like, okay, well, you know, we can port stuff to the Vita because it's powerful. Well, it's still not as powerful as the 360 and PS3. It's in the ballpark, but it's not as powerful. So it's not as easy to just be like, yeah, well, BioShock Infinite, let's port that over. You know,
that's what happened with Borderlands.
I mean, yeah, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands 2 ended up fucking being bad. Like, my friend Quinn just bought a Vita because he's in the army, he's on the road a lot, he wants to play games on the go. He has a 3DS already, he figured, fuck it, I'll go get a Vita, especially because his laptop's video card took a shit. And he ends up, like, he's playing it today, and, like, he asked me on Facebook, like, yo, Borderlands just caused my Vita to fucking crash. What do I do? And I told him, and I told you, you have to hard reset the system. Hold down the power button for 30 seconds, and then it reset and it was fine. Like, the fuck. Like, granted, there are some great games on the Vita. It's just that you have to either like indie games. Like, if you are an indie developer, that is a fucking system for you. Like, if you like to play indie games or you are developing an indie game, that is the system for you. Because indie games sell really well on it, because there's not much else to play. And it's easy to develop for, easy to port to, and is powerful enough to do that. Like, you know, I'll go on GameFly right now and pull up the most popular Vita games for you. So these aren't indie games, these are retail games. Alright. Are you guys ready for the 12 most popular games on Vita right now?
Yes.
Right. What time period?
Of currently. Like, if you were on GameFly right now.
Oh, okay.
Alright, number 1 is Tales of Heart R. Okay, the Tales games are great games. That's a popular JRPG franchise. Makes sense. Freedom Wars. Alright, Sony published Monster Hunter clone. I understand. I get the logic. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc.
Oh.
I reviewed that game. I gave it a very positive review. I gave it an 8.5. They sent us a review copy. That's what started our wonderful relationship with NIS. And yeah, it's a great game, but how the fuck is that in the top 12? Like, that game is so Japan. I guess maybe the anime is really popular.
That's what sells and gains interest on the Vita is Japanese games.
Yeah. Anyway, number 4, The Wolf Among Us. Okay, that game, if we did a top 15, it would have made the list on our Game of the Year. I get it. Alright, so... Okay, this next one, I apologize if I butcher this name. Senran Kagura Shinobi Versus. It is a fighting game slash, like, hack and slash, like, Dynasty Warriors with an anime art style and schoolgirls. It's apparently gotten relatively positive reviews. The user reviews have it sitting at an 8.5. The Metacritic has it sitting at a 7. This guys, this list gets better, trust me. I swear to God. Danganronpa 2. Okay, another great game. I don't know why the fuck we got 2 of those in 1 year, but whatever. They're both really good. Alright, Killzone. This makes sense.
Yes, Killzone, that was a good game.
Killzone Mercenaries was a great game, especially for a portable shooter. My God. That game was fantastic. Alright, this is where things start to get dark. Hyperdimensions Neptunia Rebirth 2 Sisters Generation.
What?
Let me see. I believe this is the second Hyperdimensions Neptunia, or this might be one that's specific to the Vita. I don't know. The next one on the list is from the same franchise, Hyperdimensions Neptunia Rebirth 1. Which, yeah, that was the first one. Okay, so it was a remake of the first one ported to the Vita. Alright. Oh, okay. We're almost done, guys.
This is awful.
Akiba's Trip, Undead and Undressed.
What? I haven't even heard of half these games.
Dude, you need to... Man. I feel like if I were to just... I could sit down and do an entire show about just me, covering weird Japanese video games. I really could. But anyway, Akiba's Trip, Undead and Undressed is currently rocking a 6.5 on Metacritic and a 7.5 in user reviews. And it is an RPG featuring zombies and and it's set in Akihabara, which is known as Tokyo's electric town. The story seemed like a neat idea. All right, we're moving forward. All right, so the next two are actually games you would expect. In fact, from there it actually gets into stuff you would expect, which is what I find funny. All right, God of War Collection 1 and 2, which would be fine if they didn't run. They don't run super great on the Vita, which I don't get how, because the system is significantly stronger than the PS2. So I don't get why it doesn't run super great, but whatever.
Well, you have to remember that when processors are different,
yeah,
you kind of have to work some code of some kind to optimize it for that system. Which, yeah.
Yeah, the sound quality isn't super great, and there are some... Yeah, there are some problems overall. It's fine. If you're looking to play God of War on the 1 and 2 on the go, it's not a bad option. Uncharted, Golden Abyss.
Which is a launch title.
Launch title. Great game, though. Really great game.
It is a great game.
Yeah, it got second in our Game of the Year awards for Vita that year. So... And then from here, it makes sense. Walking Dead, Tearaway, Persona, Assassin's Creed, Disgaea, Metal Gear, Final Fantasy. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy came out on the Vita last year, guys. Hey. Remember that? That was
Which
a thing.
one?
Final Fantasy 10-2.
Oh, yeah.
That was a thing. See?
It was.
See, Vita has games.
It was also on PS3, right? Or is it PS4?
Yeah, it's on PS3. It's getting ported to PS4.
Okay, but it's also on PS3.
Yeah, I know. The Sly collection is on here. I actually beat Sly 4 on the Vita, not on the PlayStation
Really?
3. Yeah. I really like Sly 4 on Vita. It was really good. Yeah, I'm saying it right now that I'm continuing to dig through the Vita list here, and of retail games. This obviously does not include, because if you include downloadable games, the Vita actually has a really good library. You got stuff like The Unfinished Swan, Resogun, number 7 or 8 on our 2013 Game of the Year list, Guacamelee. The Jack and Daxter collection. One thing I actually really like about the Vita is it's becoming a portable PS2. Like they got the PS2 Metal Gears, they got the good PS2 Final Fantasy, they got Jak and Daxter, they got Sly Cooper, they got God of War. Now some of them don't run as well as they should, but they're there and they're still fun and yeah. So I will say I'm starting to I'm starting to look into like the 4th and 5th page of Vita games. Dude, this starts to get so weird. Like, you don't even know how weird this gets. Like
It's probably a bunch of games you can't even pronounce.
Deception 4, Blood Ties. Sorcery Saga, Curse of the Great Curry God.
What? The Curry God?
Curry God.
Curse of the Great Curry God. And it's not getting super good reviews. It's not even ranked on Metacritic. It has okay reviews. You can apparently buy it really cheap. Hold on. We got a couple more of these. There has to be. Oh, here we go. X-Blade Code Embryo. These are real titles for video games, folks. I'm not even joking.
Could be so much worse.
Well, yes, Anthony, you and I did an entire show about the eShop. So
yeah,
like these are actually okay video games. Some of them, I'm sure. I'll keep going down this list a little bit. Yeah, okay. There's some stuff that you'd expect, like Dynasty Warriors, Farming Simulator 2014.
Oh yes, always wanted to play that.
Well, you'll be amazed what things come out on PC. It's even crazier.
I've always wanted to see how fast I can grow crops.
You'll be surprised that, well, I don't know.
I want someone to take that quote out of context and just quote you in an article. I've always wanted to see how fast I could grow crops. Oh, okay.
You'll be surprised about simulators like Goat Simulator, and I do.
That game is actually fun though. Like,
I know,
yeah,
a lot of people bought that.
Simulator
You also will be very surprised that Euro Truck Simulator 2 was liked and bought by a lot of people. I'm not joking; it was a top seller on Steam for a bit, and it is a really good game. I bought it.
Simulator was a huge hit. It's always in the top, like in the App Store. It's always in the top.
I stress the simulator part because anybody who's watched that game would get why.
So
maybe I need to download it and figure out what this Goat Simulator is all about. I don't know anything about it.
Dude, it's like Gary's mod. It's all about fucking around. That's all that it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
So hold on. No, you're probably wondering what games are coming to the Vita here.
Oh yes, that whole list of games.
There's the game I'm currently reviewing, and these are retail only. This isn't including great downloadable games. If you include that, this list gets way huger. But if you're just talking retail, shit you can buy in a store, oh man, this is a pretty great list. Criminal Girls, invite only, which is a strategy RPG that I've been playing. I can't really say much about it because it's embargoed until the 20th. Or not the 20th, the 2nd. Jesus.
It has sound.
It has sound. You play.
You press buttons.
You play as female characters.
There's a beginning and an end.
Yep. I can't confirm that. I haven't played it all the way through. I don't know if the game has an ending. We might have just lied.
It has to end at some point.
That's not true.
Some games never do.
Some games never end.
True.
Yeah, so we don't know. We could have just lied to you. That game may not end. The story might go on forever. We don't know yet. SpongeBob Hero Pants.
Oh yes, I've always wanted to play SpongeBob on my Vita. Hell yeah.
Hyper Devotion Noir Goddess Blackheart.
I'm kind of speechless to that title. I'm sorry. It just the silence pretty much said it all, right? I'm just like
it's a Hyper Dimensions Neptunia spinoff.
Okay.
All right. Tokyo Twilight Ghost Hunters. Tokuden Kiwami, which Tokuden is actually a pretty popular series in Japan. From the fine people who brought you Demon's Gaze, which was an alright Vita game. Operation Abyss New Tokyo Legacy. Hyperdimensions Neptunia, U, Action Unleashed, Lego Ninja Shadow of Ronin, Invisimals The Alliance, and finally, dear God, anything released by Telltale will be ported to it eventually. So yeah. There you go.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say the Vita's dead. I don't think there's any hope for it. If you have hope, just drop it.
You could just
It's
tell
not
at
happening.
E3 too, because they try to talk about it, but they're like,
Yeah, the Vita's just like that. It's like that thing they have to keep talking about because it's still not that old of a platform, but we all know they just wish it never fucking happened. Like, I honestly will not be surprised if the Vita is not being supported anymore within the next 2 years. I say by beginning of 2017, you will not be able to buy a Vita in stores anywhere, and it will be pretty much an old platform.
If they sell it at super cheap prices, I might buy it because I'm just like, well, it doesn't exactly replace my iPod Touch, but the Vita has always kind of been like this strange back in the head curiosity that I always thought about. Assuming they offload it at a low price.
Here's my thing about the Vita. Like, once again, if you are looking, I know we just talked a lot of shit about it, but there are a lot of great games on that fucking system. You can play them elsewhere, but it's really the only place where you can play them portably and have them not control like shit. Axiom Verge, Cosmic Star Heroine, Shovel Knights on the DS, but if you give me the option between playing on the DS and playing on the Vita, I'm gonna play on the Vita. Like that. There are a lot of really good games for the system and really good portable games. It's just most of them are indie games. Like Bastion's coming to that thing. Minecraft's on that thing. If if you're a fan of Super Metroid, Axiom Verge is coming out soon. If Grim Fandango, it's on PS4, but it also came to Vita. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's Vita. Our great Vita talks.
Yep.
I got one more topic. I got one more topic. Like I said, it's been a very slow news week. The Xbox Live Games for Gold for February has been announced. For Xbox One, iDarb, which I don't know anything about. For Xbox 360, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which, yeah, and Sniper Elite for V2.
Okay, so I think I've heard of iDarb. Give me a minute to look it up. And Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is a fucking great game, and if you have an Xbox 360, you should absolutely be playing it. That game was so good. So good. It is one of the best puzzle games. Like, it tells this entire story. It tells this fantastic story all through the game's mechanics and no dialogue. The game has zero dialogue. And it tells one of the best stories in games. If you have a 360, I highly encourage you to play Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. It's also on every other system that is semi-powerful. But I'm saying that, like, if you want to, want a solid game from the games of the gold, there you go. Sniper Elite, I have nothing, from what I've heard, those games aren't very good. And iDarb is, let's see, it's a 2D competitive multiplayer game that combines, like, table games. It's like part basketball, part hockey, part Super Smash Brothers, part arcade-based combo game. Okay.
Interesting. It's weird. Sony hasn't announced. Usually by now they announce their games for the following month, but they have not announced
considering
yet.
it's 3 days away, yeah, like that is weird.
But do not quote me on this. But someone told me, like I said, I would say I'm 50-50 on this, and it's nothing to be excited about anyway because the game's awful. But from what I've heard from someone that I trust and has been right, I'd say probably half the time they tell me stuff, Thief will be free for PlayStation Plus this month. That will be the big game, is Thief. That game completely sold like shit. So, yeah, if you're excited about what the big game will be, I'm hearing it's Thief. Like I said, do not quote me on that. It could always be something different, just from what I've heard from someone that is reliable half the time, which in this industry, if someone's reliable half the time, that's pretty good. So, yeah.
Yay, Thief.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I played the demo, didn't like it. But if it's free, I might download it and give it like an hour and see if I like it or if it's worth playing for more than an hour. But got horrible reviews, sold very poorly, heard very bad things about it. So, yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? Thief? Well, if it's free, will you guys download it?
I mean, I'll try it. Like, I try everything they put on there, so why not?
If it's a free, yeah, you can try it, yeah.
But, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm personally hoping what he told me is wrong, because I don't want it to be Thief. I'd rather it be something somewhat decent. I think we're at that point where we're going to start seeing a actual retail game every month. And I don't know. Part of me says that Sony is going to do knack at some point. It just makes all the sense in the world. So I'd rather them do knack and get that out of the way. Because I already beat that game. So knack was a game that... Here's the thing. I do not think it's as bad as most people are making it out to be. Like, it's not a 4 out of 10. Like, I think it's like a solid 5.5. The game just had so much potential, but it fell short in a lot of different areas. The story wasn't great. It was way too repetitive. Very frustrating AI. Very cheap at times. But it wasn't as awful as most people made it out to be.
I don't know. If I was reviewing it, I would give it like a 6.
Yeah, I think 5.5, 6. I mean, if it's free, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying beat the game because it's a lot of time to spend on the game that's not that good, even though I did it. But that's because there wasn't too much to play at the PlayStation 4 launch. I mean, once you passed Killzone and played some of the multi-platforms, there was nothing else to play. So I'm like, oh, let me beat this knack game.
Killzone was good. Assassin's Creed was great. Battlefield, when they finally got to work, was pretty good.
Yeah, when they got it to work. But, yeah, Killzone was awesome. We'll probably be... I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Killzone this holiday season. If not this holiday season, probably spring of next year. Those games always sell decently. So...
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Supposedly Guerrilla Games is working on multiple games, so they already have that one game we've talked about, like the open world game that they're supposedly working on. So maybe they're working on that and Killzone, or maybe they aren't working on a new Killzone at all yet. Who knows? But Guerrilla Games usually produces pretty good games. I mean, I wouldn't say they're up there with Naughty Dog, but I don't think anyone's really up there with Naughty Dog, to be honest. Naughty Dog is just one of those studios that...
It's like Nintendo and Naughty Dog are the top of the heap.
Yeah. But Guerrilla Games is a good studio. They're a good studio to have. So, we should definitely see more games coming out this year. I mean, you have plenty of studios. Sony Santa Monica, what the hell are they working on? No one knows. San Diego, well, they're probably just working on the next MLB The Show. But we don't know anything about what Santa Monica's working on. I'm hoping for a new God of War.
Let me pitch this to you. God of War, but like a different type of mythology. Let's get that happening.
Ooh.
I'd be down for that.
That sounds exciting.
I love Kratos, but I'd love to see him start with a new character.
I mean, I think it kind of makes sense because at the end of God of War 3, I'm like, yeah, guys, you probably don't want to push this any further. And they tried. They tried with
Ascension, but that was before all that stuff.
I know, but it's just like Kratos, you have successfully nuked the
problem
Greek
with
world.
Ascension was the fact that first of all, the team that worked on Ascension were pretty much none of the guys that worked on the previous God of Wars. That was a big problem. And then, second of all, they tried to really push its online, which, to be honest, its online actually was not that bad.
It was alright, yeah.
The single player suffered greatly from it.
The problem I had with Ascension watching Bronson played it was they tried to make a God of War 3 huge, but it didn't feel like there was much backing it, and it felt more like God of War 1.5.
What I will say, though, is from a technical aspect, that game shocked the hell out of me. That game looks really fucking good for a PlayStation 3. It's amazing what they were able to do on a PlayStation 3 with that game. But, yeah. That's how all the God of War games are. Like, I remember the first time I played God of War 3, oh my gosh, that game looks fucking amazing.
It's like, I played God of War 1, I didn't like it, I got to Pandora's box. That's what the level's called, right? Not Pandora's Tower.
It's
Pandora's
the
box.
It's the fucking giant titan with the
Yeah.
It's like a giant building with really hard puzzles that drive you nuts. I quit the game. I quit God of War 1 at that point, even though I was playing on the easiest difficulty.
That's the only thing I love God of War. God of War is one of my favorite video game series. But what I hate, it's the same thing with Uncharted. With Uncharted, it's not as bad though. I hate freaking puzzles in games. Puzzles and me just don't do well.
I like puzzles. It's just that they have to be well-made puzzles. I think that, Ego Raptor, you gentlemen have heard of someone called Ego Raptor. Maybe you've seen the Metal Gear Awesome series.
I know he is.
Well, he does a really great series called Sequelitis. And he pointed out this thing about Ocarina of Time. A good puzzle is when you have all the pieces and you have to figure out how to arrange them in the right way. What a lot of games do is they hide one of the pieces and you know what to do, you just don't know where that fucking piece is.
Oh, I hate that.
That's why Portal is so much fun. Portal, the fun part of that game comes from the aha moment, and you always have all the pieces to solve the puzzle. There's no point in Portal where I'm like super frustrated because I don't know where the piece isn't here. It's I need to figure out how to do this. And that's why puzzles in video game are a bitch to design, and why most of them aren't very fun, and why a lot of 3D Zeldas have even had trouble with puzzles.
There's just two things in games that really drive me nuts, and both of them are things that I'm not saying they're bad because it just all comes down to opinion. But my personal thing, I'm not a fan of puzzles. Uncharted, I never have a problem with those puzzles. Those I'm fine with. But some of the puzzles in God of War are just so fucking annoying. It's just like, I'm not even gonna try to figure this out. Let me just look it up online because this is bullshit. So puzzles I'm not a fan of, but then stealth, like Metal Gear is the only exception when it comes to that. Stealth and Metal Gear I'm fine with, but Far Cry 4 is still my game of the year, don't get me wrong, or game of last year since we're now in 2015. But as I play it more and more, I'm getting sick and tired of these missions of how I have to kill this guy without alerting anything, or do this without alerting anything. It's like, I just want to go in there and fucking shoot shit. Like, with some games
you're not gonna like Deus Ex then.
With some games it works, don't get me wrong, but a first-person shooter trying to be stealthy, it sucks. And it just pisses me off because I'm having to walk in there, doing something that should take 10 minutes, it's taking me 30 minutes, and I'm doing well, and I'm about to get to him, but this one guy somehow spotted me, and now I have to redo the entire shit. I just hate it. I am not a fan of. Don't get me wrong. I'm cool with strategy. Like, I'm not saying just go in there and fucking blow everything up. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, stealth is just something that, like, first-person shooters, for example. I'm never a sniper. Like, I'm not the one to just sit there and snipe people. It's like, what entertainment do I get from that? No, I'm the one going in with machine guns and just shooting everyone up. Like, that's how I like to play. So, don't get me wrong, I love Far Cry 4, but I've been playing it, and there's been a couple main story missions where you have to do this without alerting this person, or do this without getting caught, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to do another one of these missions. Can I just go in there and kill who you want me to kill? Like, ugh.
I think there's like a
so
certain appeal
I think
to.
once again, I think it also depends on if it's good or bad stealth. Like I look at Assassin's Creed, and because it controls like shit, and because all these tailing missions, like how the fuck can you see me here but not see me there? Like the bad stealth is when the rules aren't established well and everything just seems random. Like the reason Metal Gear is so good at stealth, you know what the sight lines are, you know what gets you caught, you know how to avoid stuff. Like it seems fair and interesting and fun, and that's because stealth games are essentially a puzzle. Like in Batman.
I think like Hitman's a good example too, because that whole game is centered around you doing things without anybody noticing. That's just my experience from playing Blood Money, and that's
well, yeah, and that's something else I loved about Metal Gear Solid 4 is they gave you an option most of the time. Most of the time, it's either you can go in there guns blazing, or you can do it through stealth. They didn't make it a requirement, which that I like. I like having the option of, hey, I can go in there guns blazing, and yes, I'll have everyone shooting at me, but I hate it when there's missions where, oh, this guy saw you, mission failed. Like, what? No, I hate that. Like but instead of telling me mission failed, let me get punished by a bunch of dudes coming out and shooting me. Like, don't tell me, oh, because this guy saw me that, oh, mission failed.
That was actually one of my problems with Shadows of Mordor. Like I was kind of I thought Shadows of Mordor was a good game, but I had some problems with it. But like it had those kind of missions. Like I prefer where it's like Batman, where like okay, I take a lot of damage, but I smoke bomb, I grapple up, and I get out. Like that's entertaining. Like
right, yeah, that I like. But as I said, Far Cry 4 is just freaking amazing. I love that game. There's so much crap to do. It's unbelievable. The game's freaking so big. It's nuts. Bronson, I know you play it. What did you think of Far Cry 4?
I thought it was a much improved version of Far Cry 3. I thought it was a good game. I liked the freedom. I liked, playing with other people. I thought it was a solid game. I think that I kind of agree with our spot on the top 10 list. It's definitely a top 10 game. I think it's definitely a back half compared to what else came out in the year. It's definitely better than fucking Dragon Age. I'll say that much. Fuck that game. I'm being sarcastic.
John and Bremer are not here to defend it.
Yeah. I'm saying this right now. Next year, going into next year's Game of the Year awards. Fucking, I'm gonna hold that against them so hard. Like, just you have no fucking idea.
Oh man, the next Game of the Year, the words are gonna be hell.
Metal Gear, Persona, Zelda, fucking the madness.
Uncharted. Bloodborne and The Order potentially have the opportunity to be amazing. I'm really Bloodborne. I'm not usually into those games. I'll try it out, but The Order 1886 really has me intrigued. Here's the thing: The Order 1886. I have a feeling it's either going to be a disaster or the start of another amazing franchise. It's just one of those games where I do not think it's going to be an in-between. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be like a solid 9, or it's going to be like a low 6.5. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping it's amazing. The game certainly looks freaking incredible. I know if you guys have looked at the latest trailer, the gameplay, I mean, you think the graphics couldn't get any better. There's been various websites that have shown the gameplay comparisons, and they made the game look even better now, which is crazy because the game already looks spectacular, but now it just looks ridiculous. I like the concept of it. The gameplay was pretty fun. So it just comes down to how well they implemented it all and how the story is and all that goes.
I'm going to be honest. I have not, between Bloodborne and The Order, I had no fucking interest in The Order whatsoever because they haven't shown any of the story. They put out one story.
That's kind of a good thing, though. It's just like...
No. They put out one story trailer, and I am instantly interested in that game now.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of just like what like Rockstar does. Like, look at Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, they didn't show gameplay for that game until what, like a month or two before the game came out. Like, no one knew. Like, Rockstar just one of those companies, and they never announce big things at E3. They always announce it on their own terms because they're just that big. So, I really hope we see a Red Dead Redemption 2. I really want a Red Dead Redemption 2.
I love Red Dead.
Wow.
Red Dead was
Red
so
Dead's good.
Imagine what they
fucking
could do
good.
with Red Dead Redemption on these
Oh
consoles.
my god, like, dude.
The
what?
only thing I don't like about Red Dead, from my memory, is that I didn't like how it kind of had I would call it the Fallout effect, which is like in Fallout 3, you'd have to travel long distances, which kind of gives you the sense of adventure. Fair enough, but it's a desert.
Well, I mean, like, the thing is that Red Dead had, like, fast travel and there's interesting things to do in that desert.
Yeah. But didn't you have to, like, find the place first?
No, you just needed to, like, go to a town and find the then equivalent of a taxi.
Oh. Okay, yeah, then I probably didn't look well enough.
Yeah.
Whoops. But yeah, that was something.
Rockstar's another one of those studios that's up there. They're just
Yeah,
they don't put out bad games.
Like, there's a list of developers that's just elite. It's like Naughty Dog, Nintendo, Rockstar.
Funny enough, these are like studios that take their time with stuff. Who knew?
Platinum Games is getting there, but
Yeah,
not
I'd
quite
say it's
yet.
a little bit too early to throw them in there, though.
They're getting there. Like, if they get another like Wonderful 101 Bayonetta under their belt, I would put them in there.
BioWare could have been there, but now they can't.
You know, yeah, BioWare fucked up real bad.
I mean, freaking like Mass Effect 2, Dragon Age Origins, and yeah, like Mass Effect 2 would have been like that one game where it's like, you know what, if this game had, took out the planet scanning BS and the gameplay was not bland, this would have been like near perfect. But after that, they just kind of started falling down the hill or something.
To this day, I still love Yahtzee's description of planet scanning, which sounds as interesting as it sounds.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It was so boring doing that for like an hour. Or even 30 minutes.
Oh my god, yeah, that was not fun. Like, and I did it after the patch where it was faster, but still sucked. Like, the way I got through it was, I just listened to podcast.
You're in the cars, Polyphony Digital's definitely up there.
Well,
their stuff's near perfection.
Well, it really depends what aspect of a racing game you look at. If you're looking for a game that you can just bolt a supercharger onto a Ford Mustang, yeah, that's not going to do that. If you're looking for driving physics that is somehow still manageable to the average PlayStation controller, yeah, Gran Turismo is like their physics engine.
Well,
is
yeah,
just
if
about
you're
damn
looking
perfect.
for customization and all that, you definitely got to go with turn.
I am not joking. Like when we did Forza, when Gran Turismo 5 came out, we was like, yep, perfect driving experience. And then they found more for Gran Turismo 6. They're like, okay, so we have Gran Turismo 5, right? Now you can feel the suspension and the weight of the car moving around. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's genius. They'll think of something new for Gran Turismo 7 when it comes to driving, at least.
Can you just imagine how damn good that game's gonna fucking look?
Oh, you don't ever need to buy a Ferrari. You just need to look at it in Gran Turismo. I'm not joking. Like, Gran Turismo 5 and 6, I was, like, amazed that the cars almost look like they could be on your driveway. And that's on a PlayStation 3 on 1080p. Gran Turismo 6 runs on 1080p. And, yeah, there's some, like, lighting, and yeah, you could tell that they had to cut some corners because the PS3 is not, like, the best thing ever anymore, but wow, they looked so beautiful. And the lighting, like, nighttime lighting, oh my goodness, the headlights. They light the road like real headlights. Like, freaking, this isn't like some generic Forza Horizon 1 generic light bulb thing. No, they actually have headlights.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 2 does really well with lighting for sure.
Cool.
And I thought it did really well with weather until I checked out the Drive Club update, and wow. Drive Club weather is ridiculous.
And Drive Club's made by people who worked on MotorStorm, and they're not exactly like ones that had a background in super duper high end racing games. So like if Drive Club looks that good, what is Polyphony going to do? And the weather effect is amazing.
really hope. Here's what I'm worried about. I'm worried Evolution's gonna get shut down just because Drive Club didn't. Well, they had a launch disaster. It actually didn't sell that bad, but it had a huge disaster. And it's just like they're not really producing. If you look like what big games, I mean, which makes me really sad because, yeah, Drive Club 2 would be cool. There's a ton of shit they can improve on. I mean, they've got the driving down and the graphics down, but as far as making the game fun and not irritating, that's something they really need to work on. But I want another MotorStorm. I fucking love MotorStorm. I know that unfortunately there's not millions of people waiting for a new MotorStorm, but I'm a huge fan of fucking MotorStorm. I've played every single one of them for exhausting hours. Apocalypse was really good. The first one was really I remember playing the first MotorStorm online, like, was crack. Oh man. I would see what they could do with MotorStorm on the PlayStation 4. Be amazing.
I really like Drive Club. I mean, yeah, the AI, okay, yeah. But for some reason, the AI never really bothered me that much. Yeah, it was still annoying because for some reason, you can nail that corner, be in first place, and accelerate down that straight as best as you can, and somehow the AI finds some extra secret hidden NOS kit that they just hit the button and then just blow right by you.
Another thing that really makes me appreciate Forza when I play Drive Club is when you're doing like a 5-lap race, okay? And you're doing really, really well, but you fuck up on that last turn and you go from getting first to like last.
Oh, I had that happen to me. Crap.
Yeah,
that was bad.
It's just like, why can't, like, I understand, like, but make it optional, the rewind feature. Like, just
I like the rewind feature.
Yeah,
I do like that. Yes.
Like limit it to like 1 or 2 rewinds a race if you have to, but it's so fucking frustrating because the AI in that game is so difficult. And the thing is, Evolution did the same shit in MotorStorm. MotorStorm used to piss me off all the time because I could have a spectacular race, not even mess up, and come in like 5th place. But then I'll have a terrible race. But I'll start doing well at certain parts and come in first, and I'm like, what?
The key to winning in Drive Club is that the AI drives too slow around corners. That's how you beat them. So that's why on the straights you get really worried because they're gonna catch up for sure on the straights. But in the corners, they tend to slow down a little too much, which it's kind of strange. But
yeah.
But yeah, I really like Drive Club though. I mean, I really do. It's just it's not because of the competition racing. It's just more like, even though this is not really a racing sim, the cars accelerate like they do in real life. They sound like they do in real life, and they feel like real life, even though they got like the super stickiest tires ever. It's just like, I really like the Audi RS5 just because of Drive Club. Why? I understand that in real life, a BMW M3 is going to be better. I get that. Or an M4 now, I should say that. I get that. But an Audi, I love that engine now. I absolutely love that engine. It sounds so amazing, and I love it. Every opportunity I can get to floor the gas pedal and hear that engine. And Drive Club, and the reason why I like it is because of Drive Club. And, wow. Hey, fun fact of Drive Club. Did you know that they finally put an American car in it that isn't based off of a Lotus? They finally put a Corvette, and it's like the only American car in the whole game. There's still no Japanese cars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they say the Hennessy Venom is US, but if you look at it, you can tell it's a Lotus Exige or Elise that's modified heavily. But yeah, there's a Corvette now, which is paid DLC, which annoys me.
Well, I will say this. They did release a ton of DLC for free.
They did, as an apology for Drive Club being broken for a moment.
Yeah.
Which kind of says a lot about online.
I wonder when they're going to have the PlayStation Plus edition.
They probably have given up at this point. It's been too long.
Well, at this point, I think it's stable enough.
I know, but do you think anyone would actually care about it for them to even do it? I mean, obviously it wouldn't hurt because they have it. Either that or they're concerned it's too broken. It's just, they spent a whole month trying to fix Drive Club because their service completely broke the day it came out. Which really hurt its launch, in my opinion. Because it's a social racing game. You need it for your challenges, you need it for your, one-upmanship and all that kind of stuff. You need it for your leaderboards. I mean, that game is centered around not just you enjoying your car, but enjoying competing against other people. Like, freaking, I went online and I just love trying to go around there trying to get some of the best lap times I can. Freaking love that, but I need a leaderboard. And if, the server's broken, I don't have a leaderboard. And I want to drive through this section of the track 0.2 mile per hour faster than that guy, just so I can just, get some free, whatever those style point things are. It's like yeah.
Fucking Project Gotham.
I'll just call it kudos. I'll just call it
Let's
kudos.
just call it what we both want to call it because we both played PGR to death.
Yeah.
Kudos points.
Kudos points. Yeah. Man, Project Gotham Racing, and then Bizarre Creations get shut down. They get bought by Activision, then they made Blur, and then they got shut down.
Blur was a fucking great game. Like, I loved Blur. That game was cool.
Yeah, the smart thing for Evolution to do next time they come out with a game is do a beta test.
Really? Well, they had a beta.
Help.
Well, as we found out in 2014, when a game first comes out, that's the beta.
Yeah.
Like 6 months later is when you should actually buy it.
We live in an age
where... I will
where...
say, though, as much of a disappointment Destiny was, that game operated very well for the amount of load that it had on it, which surprised me.
The problem is that the industry is sort of like moved forward to, it's just like a delayed game is temporary, but a broken game is forever. Well, in today's era of, we just put out a day one patch and then patch it over a month, broken game is forever is not really forever anymore. So it just because everyone keeps buying this broken stuff, they keep doing it.
Did you guys see that picture I sent you about pre-orders?
Something about South Park?
Yeah, it was. Hold on, let me pull up. TGA has a massive group text chat, and the file just gets bigger and bigger. Like I looked on my iPhone, and 3 gigs of it is just our group chat.
3 gigs.
Yeah.
See, I occasionally delete it. Because,
I haven't deleted it since the very beginning. So.
Yeah.
Wow, that must be fun.
So Nick and I have a record of everything y'all have said ever. So just be
I just have a history of not deleting texts. I'm like, unless someone pisses me off and I never want to talk to them again. Like, I have texts back from 2011 still on my phone.
I'm just fucking lazy.
Wow.
Like that's the.
Well, the thing is, I have a 128 gigabyte phone, so I don't have to worry about freaking space. And it's just like I want to be like, oh, what did they say about this? Or when was the last time we talked and what did we talk about?
So you need to explain something to me. Why the fuck did you buy a 128 gigabyte phone?
Well, okay, so I'll tell you why. So first of all, for my job, I work with apps. So not only do we work on our apps, but there's various apps that I keep downloaded on my phone that take up a lot of space because we either use them for project management purposes or
but how much space in your phone do you eat up with all that? Like, how much space do you have left right now?
Let me look right now. Because the reason why when they announced the 128, the reason why I did it is because I only had 5 gigs free on my 64 gigabyte. Usage. I've used 51.5, 62.9 available.
Okay, that's fine. That makes sense.
So at 64 gigabytes, I'd have to be conservative. With 128, I just don't give a fuck. So. Because
I was about to say, I'm buying a tablet with 64 gigs soon, and even I think that's just incredibly excessive.
Well, yeah. Also keep in mind that I have this thing where there's a bunch of games on my iPhone that I'll probably never play again, ever.
Then fucking delete them.
Yes, I know, but I just have a bad habit of not deleting them.
See, if you had to worry about space, you would though. So that's.
Well, yeah. me a 32 gigabyte iPhone, I'm sure I can manage, just not how I'd like to. But
Like I have a 16 gig and it's fine. Like granted, I don't really play games on my phone. Like I have to carry a messenger bag with me, especially now. And before that, I had a car anyway to keep shit in. So I just carry my DS with me.
it's just the fact that I like having the comfort of I never have to worry about my phone getting full. Never.
But that's how I am with my computer. So
So
I can't blame you for that.
yeah, so I don't have to worry about, oh, let me delete this, delete that. Like no, like I
I can
don't
keep
have to
20
worry
gigs
about
of porn on here. Okay.
it. That's whatever half of my space being used is ultra high resolution porn.
Yeah, are you gonna move to get like they got those Samsungs that are 4K? Just gotta get that 4K pornography.
Yeah, once the iPhone comes out with 4K, I'll have the 4K porn.
Yep.
That'll take up even more space, so I'm preparing for the future.
4K pornography. Yep. I remember people talked about like when Blu-ray was coming out, just like imagine Blu-ray pornography.
Well, no, you should have listened to it. So last week, so Bronson, have you heard of this Halo lens that Microsoft announced?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Oh my! Did you guys talk about
No. Like, no, seriously, it's like
Think
holographic.
about how excited the porn industry is getting about this. Because seriously, so it's this whole thing where it's like holographic. Like this isn't virtual reality. This is holographic. So pretty much it's modifying the world you're in. So with that said, I mean I'm not gonna mention anything, but a creative mind will tell you that the porn industry is going crazy right now because.
Okay, yeah, that's.
Why hire an escort when you can just see one?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you have to put on this AR headset or glasses or whatever to use it still, because your eyes, they don't have a way to inject into your eyes yet. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sure the next thing will be contacts that do it, but
I know, but do you know how scary it would be if they get to the future where it goes into your eye and then someone hacks into the software that runs in your eye?
You are just tripping out at that point.
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
just
a bad
you simulate what it's like to be tripping on acid.
Yeah.
I already have something for that, so I want to talk about this now. There's a very popular band I listen to called Starball. Which they do like music about video games, like they did It's Dangerous to Go Alone, Take to This, a couple other songs. But they have another band that's just about like anything called Ninja Sex Party. And Nick's already laughing, I can tell. But their other band is called Ninja Sex Party. And they have. Man, if you want to simulate acid, just watch some of their music videos. I encourage anyone, and I literally do mean fucking anybody, to go watch Dragon Slayer by Ninja Sex Party and not just think of fucking drugs. No, like seriously.
They were probably on drugs when they did the video.
And then, and so one of the guys who is in this band is one of the two people in Game Grumps. So if you know about that Let's Play series, there you go. Yeah, man, I don't like they're really good music videos.
And Bronson, you cut out.
Oh joy.
Bronson, you cut out. Oh, Bronson. I can't hear you.
I think his internet probably cut off for good or something.
Oh, Bronson.
I fucking hate the internet. God damn it.
Good. You're back.
He's back.
Hello?
So, audience, the lesson of the day is do not watch this video. This is what happens when you watch your video. It abducts you. Our poor staff member Bronson Fiore just got abducted by Starbomb, I think what he said they're called. So we advise you to not watch this video. We will not take responsibility.
Fucking god damn it.
So yeah, Bronson, we just told the audience that you secretly just got abducted by promoting that video. So I just put a disclaimer out there to everyone to not watch it because they will become abducted just like you were.
Okay, so no, for real, man. Just like you need to watch. Like first one they should watch is Dragon Slayer by Ninja Sex Party. But if they're into that, they should also watch Unicorn Wizard.
Unicorn Wizard, yeah, that just sounds like they were on drugs to come up with something like that.
So one of their band members is named Ninja Brian. And he dresses up like a ninja and plays the keyboard. So hello?
Yeah, some tells me they are very well educated on drugs.
Acid. No, I
Yeah.
remember like so you didn't get to hear the story of my New Year's, did you?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So I might
All
as
I know
well
is
tell
your
this
car.
here.
All I know is your car broke down.
Oh man. So Anthony and I told this story on Super Mega Awesome Go Playtime, but I might as well just fucking tell it here. Anthony is cringing right now, I guarantee it.
Was Anthony with you when this happened?
No, he was with me for parts of it. It doesn't involve him at all. Anthony was mostly at the party playing Smash Bros. While I was freezing my ass off on the highway, or getting text messages that people are bringing moonshine to the party and all kinds of weird shit. Anyway, I guess I'll start we might as well tell this story from the very beginning. So Tori, our staff member, is hosting a New Year's party because typically when she's in town, she'll host one party because, well, like she has like the perfect house for a party. Like their living room wall is used as a television for a projector. They have a sound system that shakes the whole fucking house. It's a relatively good sized house. Decent sized backyard, neighbors that don't call the cops. Shit you want for a party environment. Everything's getting set up. Anthony, do we use your Wii U or do we use Eli's?
It was Eli's.
Okay, I know we used my GameCube controllers because I had wireless ones and Anthony's adapter. Anyway, we set all that up and start playing Smash Brothers and Bayonetta. At one point, I get text from a bunch of people like, "Hey, we need we hear the party starting. We could use a ride." So we get my friend Quinn's car. Who it's kind of like what would you call that thing? Like a small Suburban. Like what would you call that thing Quinn was driving?
It was a Jeep, right?
Yeah, I think it was like
It's a compact SUV. It's like a RAV4 or CRV.
Yeah, it was compact SUV was a good way to describe it. And we have to go get Lydia and John, two of our friends, and it was me, Quinn's girlfriend, and Quinn getting these people. And then at one point during this, I get a text from Kevin, who is like, "Hey, I just got off work downtown. Is the party still going on? What's going on?" And we're like, "Okay, we need to go downtown and get Kevin." So we grab Kevin, and then I get a text from my friend Garen to go fucking get him. So this car that realistically seats 5 people was probably seating like, I don't know, 8 total.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to cram some people in the back. Thankfully, Lydia and John are both very small. Not the John from this website, different John. John had the good sense not to go to this party. Well, not the good sense. His girlfriend didn't want to go. But anyway, we go. So I get them, and we come back to the party, and I text another friend of mine. Hey, there's no alcohol. They don't like going to parties that have alcoholic drinks. They're just not their thing. So I was like, especially because at this party there were a couple of 20-year-olds. So. I was like, okay, I can understand. I was like, hey, there's no alcohol. I don't think there's going to be any, or at least not till way later. So I was like, oh yeah, come and get me. And then Kevin's like, well, I need to get the fuck out of my uniform. And my friend David is like, hey, I just got out of work. Can you come and get me also? So I decide, okay, let's leave Quinn and company here, and I'll go with my friend Tyler to go grab everyone. We go and Sorry, I'm also playing Madden while doing this, if you can hear it. So we go get in the Warthog. It's freezing cold out. Oh, real quick backtrack. On the first trip to go get people, we also picked up a shit ton of like oven baked pizzas and soda because, well, we just like one, it's a lot cheaper than buying booze for everyone, and two, miners there didn't want to get in trouble for supplying alcohol. So we go out into the frozen cold, stop off downtown so Kevin can turn in his uniform and get changed. Then we go get my friend David, and we head back on the freeway. Now, it's about 11:10, 11:30 at this point, and people start bringing up, and we're all pretty big movie fans, and we start talking about Back to the Future. Now it's going to be 2015. And Kevin and I get this fucking idea that we should go 88 miles per hour. That's fucking, this is amazing logic.
And this is in your car, right?
This is in my car.
Oh boy.
So Anthony can tell you that my car shakes violently when it goes fast.
It's not just that, but it's literally just like on the edge of blowing up any day now.
Yeah,
any day now, because like that thing had a cracked engine block that was, had some sealant on it, had new transmission, the engine had a hard time starting. You could just tell it wasn't just the condition of the vehicle. You could just tell this thing was gonna blow up one day, any day now.
Yeah. So we decided to go 88 miles per hour. Now, David's just kind of like happy and content. Like to put David in perspective, Anthony actually hasn't met this guy because Anthony left the party early. But Nick, you remember me at E3 and how I was quite large, correct?
Yes.
Okay, imagine that. About 5 inches taller and almost twice as wide.
Oh my god. Fucking huge.
David is a big boy. I have lost a lot of weight since. I'm still a large gentleman, but I don't make Anthony's car sink anymore. At minimum. Anyway, so Kevin is laughing like the Joker in the back of my fucking car. David is just kind of content, and Tyler, who when I worked with Tyler at AT&T, the dude hated riding in my car. He was scared to death to drive in that thing. But he came with me because he didn't want to be at a party where he didn't know that many people. So Tyler looks like he looks ghost pale. Kevin is laughing like the fucking Joker. David just looks just happy and content, like doesn't really know what's going on, even though he does. And we hit 90 miles per hour. We hit 88, then we hit 90, and the Warthog starts to make a sound. This sound. This gets better. And then it starts to smoke violently. Like, just smoke is pouring out of this fucking car. It is just... So we pull over to the side of the road, shut the fucking engine off so it doesn't explode, because it could, if there's a problem. And we get to the side of the road, and not even 2 minutes later, a highway patrolman pulls up behind the husk of my car, and asks like, "Hey, I saw you guys smoking real bad back there. I came to see what's up." And we're like, "Oh yeah, the car stalled." So he pops the hood and sprays.
Can I say anything about you guys going 90 miles an hour?
Fucking no. This guy was a really cool police officer, and also, and they didn't catch me in the end. Also, he was on the opposite side when he saw me, so he would have. Got it. So, but yeah, he saw my ass going fucking 90, and
Butts, I think you cut out again. Oh, Bronson.
That should be fun.
Oh, Bronson. Story time's not up yet. Oh boy, Bronson
Hear
must
me.
have some.
I can hear you.
Now we can hear you.
Hello?
Okay, now we can't.
Yeah.
Bronson must have some horrible internet.
Technical problems.
This time it's not on the TGA side. It's on Bronson's side.
And he lost connection. Should I continue the story from what I know, or wait for him to come back?
He's
Fuck
back.
Oh, there he is.
Jesus.
There it is.
Sony's
So yes,
upgraded
you were
their
saying the police
internet.
officer's coming the other way?
Okay, yeah. So the officer comes up behind me, asks me to pop the hood of my car, looks out of the fire extinguisher because he figured it could catch fire any minute because all the smoke. And he's like, okay, well, you fucking, you know, I'm pretty sure he looks under it. There's fucking oil everywhere. There's a small oil trail behind me, which told me, oh, that seal broke. It's done. This thing, fucking time to take it out to pasture. It died trying to time travel.
Oh man.
That's what I'm like. There's so much.
It's an
shit
80s car, so you know.
There's so much shit that could have killed the warthog, and could not have been a more perfect death for that car. But back to the
So
story.
that thing is completely done, huh?
Well, the engine is. The transmission might have some life in it, but the engine, yeah, it's gone.
The engine is what's done. I have a friend who's buying the car because he's going to try and put a new engine in it. I'm like, you're fucking an idiot, but if you want to give me $250 for this husk, go ahead.
You'll be surprised. Like, a lot of people buy junk cars and they just put, like, completely different engines in there.
Oh, yeah, he'll probably do something.
It's like, there's, like, a lot of late 70s cars that you could just kind of buy up, and as long as your car meets emissions and whatever, you could put an engine in. Like, this is like the old days where you could still kind of do that stuff.
Anyway, I at this point, so I call my tow company and tell them, yo, bring it to my house at 5 a.m. Because I figured, fuck it, I'm not going to worry about this. I'm going to go to the party. I'm going to have fun. And we call my friend Quinn because he's out getting someone else for the party. And he ends up, and like, we're just huddled in the fucking highway in the cold, freezing to death. And this highway patrol officer wants to make sure we're okay. And at one point, he just offers to give us a ride. And we get a ride to a party with plenty, at that point, alcohol with minors.
Oh.
Luckily, he did not come inside, especially because the alcohol was brought by the minors, and the alcohol was beer shine.
Oh, wow.
Now you're probably like, wait, don't you mean moonshine? And my response to you is, no, I mean beer shine. Let me explain. So, while we were out having our adventure with my car nearly catching fire and whatnot, I get a text message saying like, hey, they're bringing alcohol to the party, don't pick up so-and-so. I won't name a name because they don't want to be named. And I was like, okay, and I tell so-and-so, and they're very upset, but it happens. And I'm like, who the fuck brought alcohol? And they're like, and Tori responds with blank, 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 they brought moonshine. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean they brought moonshine? Like, yeah, they made their homemade beer and they fucked up. Like, what do you mean they fucked up? Like, what the fuck happened? I don't see how you go from making fucking, like, brewing homemade beer to fucking moonshine. Like, that's to be a pretty big fuck up. And I get to the party and I find out from the gentleman who made this fine drink that we would name beer shine that he fucked up the seal. So it ended up being beer with the alcohol content of moonshine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gross.
So beer shine. That was the birth of beer shine. Continuing on with this story, we get back to the party, sing karaoke, midnight hits, have a good time. Now, if you've ever been in Reno, you know Reno is one of those cities very similar to Vegas, where if you want a steak and want it for very little money, you just leave the house at 2 a.m. So we go out to go get steaks, and Now, I'm sure you guys have both had country fried steak before.
Yes.
And you both know that you are not supposed to eat that rare. It is supposed to be cooked.
Correct.
Well, my cook at this particular casino disagreed. Like I kind of knew it. I have a bite. I was like, huh, this tastes kind of weird. And like I have 2 more bites. I looked down at my plate. I'm like, oh shit. So this was like a fucking bloody, like country fried steak, and I had them. And I'm like, oh god. Last time I got back from one of these parties, I threw up in the middle of the road. It's gonna be one of those again, which I'll tell that story later. Wasn't from drinking; it was from bad food at a restaurant. But I get to I tell them that I send it back and they actually give me a whole new meal free of charge. And this is like before I bit into the steak, I ate all my hash browns and eggs already, so that was fucking awesome of them. So good on that particular casino. Yeah. So that was my New Year's. Beer shine, my car nearly
So my
exploded.
question is, if you knew there was alcohol there and underage people, why'd you have the cop take you there?
Because we didn't want to wait for Quinn, and the people we know are smart enough not to be loud and rambunctious, so the cop won't want to come inside. That's why, or at least not loud and rambunctious to the point of where someone is going to call the cops and require it to be looked at. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, when she said there was like beer shine there, I was like, oh, okay. They probably like. I thought she must be like, this must be some weird kind of beer. And then I get there and like,
that's the first time I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, man. Do you have any other questions about this evening? Did like fucking me and 3 other people just huddling around my near on fire car for warmth on the fucking highway? Because I'm not sure if you read this, New Year's in Reno, Nevada, on the highway at 11:30 at night is freezing.
I bet.
Yeah, so. Oh, yeah, man.
So any plans to replace the car anytime soon?
Nope. Absolutely none. None whatsoever.
Public transportation?
Yeah. Like my work is like, I have if I was at any of my other jobs, I would have said, I'm replacing this motherfucker as soon as possible. But my current job, one of them is across the street from the mall, which has a bus going to it every 15 minutes. And then the other one is in like the center of like 4 bus stops. So I mean, like, and then my house is right next to a bus stop. So I'm just like, yeah, this, it makes some things mildly irritating. Like for game night, I have to get rides with Anthony or John or Bremen. Like Anthony had his graduation dinner, I had to get a ride with him. But like, I'm probably going to go at least a year without a car. So I don't know. But I will say that I'm going to get a lot more reading in because like I said, as I've said on this podcast many a time, I very much want to get an e-reader. I like to read, and especially because just like I live in a very small house, space is at a premium, and I figured, well, an e-reader can solve my book problem. So I'm looking into getting an iPad Mini or an iPad Air, one of the two, and I ended up. I figured that I'll get more reading done this way. I can bring my laptop if I wanted to really type shit on the bus for TGA or get stuff on the bus done for TGA. Save a ton of money. Just like like I was probably blowing about. I'd say like I was spending about $82 a month in insurance, which my bus pass monthly is $60. And then I was paying anywhere from $100 to $200 a month in gas, because the Warthog just fucking ate gas. And then there was also the fact that, when I have a car, I like driving a lot, which just fucking eats a lot of gas, So Yeah, I don't know. I'm saving a shit ton of money. I think it is good for me to not have a car right now, and I kind of wish it would have died sooner. Like when I replaced the transmission in like September of 2013, that's when I should have let it go. Right? Like,
How much did the transmission cost you?
Just the transmission itself, or with the labor and everything?
With everything.
Like $1,500.
Yeah.
That's like. But I was like, no, I fucking need a car. And at the time, I was working at AT&T, so
That thing is that probably was that $1,500 was worth more than your entire car, anyways.
There's that, but like at the time, I didn't care as much because I was working at AT&T. So like that's where things were, I guess, a little different, because it was just like, yeah, fuck it, this is, I'll have this paid off in 2 months. Little did I know. So yeah, that's how that happened. I don't know. I'm actually kind of content in my current job. It doesn't pay as well, but it doesn't pay as well, and holy fucking shit, my supervisors are retarded sometimes. But like for the most part, I can get, if I need a day off to do, like, if I need like a week off to do E3 or something, I can typically get it. The fact that you do not realize how big of a deal it is to have weekends off until you don't have them off for like 4 years.
Well, yeah, but you seem to always be working on the weekends.
You know what? That's because I'm a greedy bastard and I want more money. But
the infamous text, "I'm not even supposed to be here today."
yeah, well, that's also me quoting Clerks, which it's on Netflix and you should go watch it.
I know it's from. That's why it's funny.
That's like tied for my favorite movie of all time. It's a really dry indie movie, but Christ, I love Clerks. Yeah. So.
Cool. I think that wraps up story time. And
wraps up story time. Next week, I'll tell you about how this girl that I was dating at the time nearly got me arrested because she was fucking stupid. Oh, man.
That's funny. Yeah, so stay tuned to that.
I will tell that story next week. Sure, let's do it. Next week, I'll tell that story.
This is going to be a new weekly thing with Unscripted Access, story time.
Story time? Oh, dude, I got plenty of good stories, so great.
Oh, I'm sure we all do. So now we get to share our stories with the world.
Great. Wait, I have actually a news story.
Okay.
Before we close this off,
story time. We will always have story time at the end for people that just want to listen to the gaming talk, and then what we'll probably do is we'll do the gaming talk and then comments and questions, and then if you'll leave after that, that's fine. But if not, we'll have story time afterwards.
Story time.
Yay, kids! It's time for stories.
This is how you nearly get arrested.
This is how you get your car to die a glorious death.
This is how you realize your friends are fucking idiots for making moonshine. Oh wait, no, they made beer shine because that's better somehow. Oh my god. Oh, I have some amazing friends, but they're fucking idiots sometimes.
Yeah, if the cop would have went to that house, that would have been a disaster.
If he would have went to the backyard.
Yeah, they left it outside for it to, it's refrigerated.
Yeah, it's a refrigerated, and no one wanted to drink it besides fucking them. So, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty gross.
You were there when that shit arrived, right?
Yeah, I was there when it showed up, and I was like, "What's this? Homemade beer?" I did not know how high the alcohol concentration was. I just knew it was just some homemade beer that they put outside so it got cold, so they could chill it up. Did
either one of you guys try it?
No, I left early. I left early because I wanted to get back home before all the drunk drivers go on the road.
Yeah, man. Let me. For me, it was like I didn't want to try it because I thought that was the dumbest fucking thing you could make. And how the fuck do you How do you fuck up making beer this bad? And like, no, I'm not gonna like drink a cup of this and be plastered for the rest of the night. Are you fucking crazy? Funnily enough, this isn't like my only encounter with moonshine in my life. But once again, we'll save that for
a future episode of Unscripted Access.
Yeah, we'll save that for Bronson's other encounter with moonshine. Anyway,
Gives you guys something to look forward to every week.
Yeah, I'm sure that especially like once Bremen is here, like like I was Bremen's roommate for E3, and man, that dude has some amazing stories. Especially if he's willing to tell certain things about his previous wife. But anyway, we should we should move back to video games. Anthony, did we talk about this last week? Club Nintendo is shutting down.
We're talking. Wait, what? We're back to reasonable things now?
Did you just tune out for that entire story?
No, I did not tune out. I'm just like, wow, we're back to talking regular stuff.
Wow. Yeah, just pulling you back from...
That was like 30 minutes of how New Year's Eve just went out with a bang. Almost.
Yeah. Went out with... Well, there was a bang.
There was a bang.
There was a bang. It just wasn't as awesome as you hoped it to be. Like I was hoping that the explosion just like blasted the hood straight out of the sky high or something.
Well, instead, the rods on my engine snapped. So there you go. Anyway, Club Nintendo is shutting down. For those of you who have no idea what Club Nintendo is, Nintendo, since 2007, has had this service where you register their games and third-party games that they are promoting on their website. You get coins, and if you get a certain amount of coins, you get awesome stuff, and then you can use other coins to buy awesome stuff. For me, I didn't get my first platinum ranking with them until 2011, which really pissed me off, because 2010, they had a Mario statue. Every year since, they have not had something nearly as cool. But
how big was the Mario statue?
It was something you'd put on your desk. It wasn't super huge.
Oh, cool.
But it had Mario and Peach and Luigi and all them, and it was actually this really nice painted statue. And then 2011 they gave posters. I forgot what they gave in 2012. Fucking last year they just gave us digital downloads for games. I was just like, are you fucking serious, Nintendo? I love Donkey Kong, don't get me wrong. But still, come fucking on. But it's closing down. This will be the last year. You only have till March to get platinum status this year, and I'm 80 coins away. So with my tax return, I'm probably just going to buy Hyrule Warriors and Donkey Kong. So, hey, Anthony, does Hyrule Warriors have online? I forgot.
Not a traditional online. You can just connect to a server and then some bonus perk things come in, I guess.
Damn it, I was about to say, we should play that together. Oh, well.
I don't think there's no true online on there. As far as I can tell.
Yeah, and then its split screen co-op is fucking garbage.
It's not that bad considering they're trying to render 600 enemies on 2 different screens with asymmetrical rendering, whatever this weird crap they're doing. They put an entire screen on the TV and they put a completely different camera view on the touchpad, which is awesome if the Wii was more powerful, which it isn't.
Yeah, I'm just well, yeah, but now because of that, when you are playing that game by yourself, it actually looks really good. Yeah,
that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, there are some parts that aren't the best, but for the most part, it looks really good.
And the frame rate cries a lot. Oh man, that frame rate! But then when you have 2 screens, oh man!
Not only does it 2 screens, it looks like a PS2 game.
Yeah, not only does it look like a PS2 game, but the frame rate's crying the whole time instead of occasionally.
Yeah, it just looks like
it's a really interesting technical way that they did it. But hey, I'll take it. I guess that's a proper use of a gamepad in a way. It's just the Wii U didn't really have the horsepower to do what the Hyrule Warriors people wanted it to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked Hyrule Warriors from what we got to play, and that's probably why it's gonna be the one I'm buying. Because I'm looking through the other Club Nintendo certified games I can get for coins, and I'm like, Shovel Knight, maybe, and I'm just like, I was like, fuck it, I'll just get Hyrule Warriors. But you have until the end of March to get platinum status or gold status. Starting in February, they're gonna have a bunch of rewards to spend your coins on. So if you're like me and you're hoarding them, just wait till then. I currently have 1,170 coins. So that's gonna go up even more when I register those two games. Currently, if you just want to blow those coins now, you can get Nintendo greeting cards, a Smash Brothers poster set, or the Ultra Hand. And then they have a bunch of downloadable games like Super Metroid, Super Punch Out, Excite Bike. I don't know. Like they said, they're going to replace it with a new rewards program, but even then, no.
I wish more companies. I wish Sony and Microsoft would do something like that to encourage people to buy new games.
I mean, like that's the thing. Like everyone talks about like combating the used game menace, and I'm just like, yo, bro, I buy everything from Nintendo new. Why? Because fucking Club Nintendo. So, like it is a very, very good reason to, it's the best thing I've seen to fight the used game stuff that publishers bitch about.
Remember the online passes? Remember
Fucking
that thing?
what Anthony said. That was so fucking horrible.
EA did it, and then even Sony did it.
Sony was the first one to do it. Sony was the first.
They did it before Sony? Yeah, are you sure they did it before EA?
Yeah, Sony was the first one on that bandwagon. I was really pissed about I paid I remember I was reviewing Resistance 3 for the website, and I wanted to review its multiplayer. I was like, well, shit. It looks like I'll have to, I guess I'll just have to pay the $10 to play this online. Son of a bitch.
Oh, you bought it used?
I rented it. I was renting it.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. And then I was gonna be like, okay, well, hey, I'm gonna buy it anyway, so fuck it, I'll just pay for this part now. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like that was a dumb time. And then look, there are two ways you can. Nintendo is the master of getting people to keep video games and fighting used video games because they do two things. Club Nintendo thing was one. The other one was they make games that people don't want to fucking sell. They make games of high quality that are long and people don't want to sell them. And because of that, that means there aren't many used copies going around, meaning used copies prices are higher. Like, watch. Anthony, what's Super Mario 3D World? That came out. If that came out on Xbox, was probably like an Xbox now, it'd probably be about $30 now, right?
If it came out when?
Like if it came out on Xbox, it would probably be $30 used right now, right?
Probably.
It's been about a year and a half, be about $30, $40. It is $55 used.
Okay, well, in that case, I would kind of like to offer the counterpoint that Nintendo never price drops anything. Because you look at anything, oh, Dragon Age is $60, used $55. They'll always do that or something.
Yeah, because when they sell games used, they base it off the MSRP. They usually take like $5 off the MSRP.
Yeah, but if you give Dragon Age you wait a while on Dragon Age, like it's gonna come to the regular new version's gonna come down in price, and so is the used. And not only that, but Dragon Age, people aren't gonna keep buying it. Fucking how long does Mario Kart sell for $60? Fucking forever, and Nintendo doesn't price drop because they don't fucking need to. They realize that everyone who owns their system is going to want to buy that game. And yeah, that's a luxury that some publishers can't afford. But, Naughty Dog can, for sure. They know everyone's going to, everyone on the PS4 is going to buy Uncharted 4. They don't have to price cut it, the new version. They do. So, But whatever, man. Anyway, we should get on to questions, right?
Yep.
Okay, from Cray T, I think Halo with HoloLens would be pretty amazing. Wouldn't be surprised to see it happen. How much Halo is impacting Windows 10? Yep.
Yeah, if HoloLens becomes a viable tool in Xbox, I could definitely see Halo being.
Here's an idea. So you see all the action in front of you on the TV, right? What if you take the HUD off the TV and put it to the side of the TV? You just cleared up your TV for more display space, and your HUD is on the corner of your eyes instead. That's a
that
nice
would be
idea,
cool.
right?
That would
Or
be cool.
how about, if you can create more like a virtual reality setting where the in front of you is like whatever racetrack you're driving on, and through fancy 3D AR thing, you see the dash of your car so it doesn't eat up the space. You could expand your field of vision there. I just thought of that. But yeah, what we can do for Halo, but you could take the HUD off the screen. And I mean, like, the gamepad just gives me that idea. Like, freaking playing Wind Waker on the gamepad was really awesome because they put all the buttons and all the stuff down on the pad, so that way when you look up at the screen, all you see is like health and whatever absolute necessities, and you have a clean screen to see everything. So yeah, that's what HoloLens can do for Halo. Is HoloLens going to simulate your living room on fire because of Halo? That would be very gimmicky. I mean, simulating all the lighting and changing all this stuff in your living room is just like, it's just going to distract you away from your screen. And I highly doubt you want to jump around your room in virtual reality, so yeah. That's just my thought on it.
I agree.
Alright.
It just all comes down to whether the HoloLens really kicks off in the gaming industry or not.
It has a lot of potential, just like how the Kinect has a lot of potential. It depends on what you do with it, and if you do something with it, is it reasonable and practical? Because it isn't just, it has so much potential, you can do all these cool things, yes, but is it easy to do also?
Right, yeah.
And can you make it work under almost all conditions? Because it's not good enough for something to work half the time. Just ask like voice activated navigation. That doesn't work all the time.
Yeah, just ask not current Kinect, but just ask playing dancing games with original Kinect in my room. So I have enough space in my room to dance like one person, and the original Kinect apparently didn't fucking think so. So I had to angle it upwards at a way so it thought I was further away from the TV than I actually was. Versus current Kinect, which actually has a fucking worth the crap lens that can pan at a wide angle and go, oh, okay, bro, yeah, you got room to move. So, yeah.
That's why
anyway,
I'll be curious to see how the Morpheus does too for PlayStation. We haven't heard about it in a while. I don't know, maybe we'll see that this year.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
I know they're talking about it at GDC. Sony announced their some of the things they're doing at GDC, and the Morpheus was one of them. They announced some about optimizing for the GPU, stuff like that, development stuff. That's what GDC's for.
Okay.
All right, so moving forward, Sway says, I bought the remaster of Saints Row and was very disappointed. It doesn't look much better at all. If the same happened with Borderlands, would you still buy it?
Well, I guess I played Borderlands 2 on the PC and it looked great.
Yeah, like that.
And I didn't play it. I didn't get through the whole game just because I was busy. Plus, I never even played the pre-sequel. Just because, well, I've played it, but not near as much as I should have. Because it was on the previous gen. If it was on this generation consoles, I probably would have bought it. But the fact that it includes Borderlands 2 and all of the DLC, and there's a ton of DLC that came out for Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, yeah, I'm probably gonna still buy it. But I do hope it's at least what it looks like when I ran it on my PC.
So for me personally, Like, I own Borderlands 2 and all the DLC on the PC, and I own just the game on PS3. And then the pre-sequel I don't own yet. If I were to buy it, I'd get it on PC. So I don't know. I'm kind of mixed about it. Like, if Nick and Anthony and Bremen and John all decide we're gonna get Borderlands, I would definitely hop on, especially for the pre-sequel because I haven't played much of it. Anthony?
Would I buy the Saints Row? Wait.
Would
I
you
spaced
buy Borderlands, the Handsome Jack collection, if it didn't look like that much of an upgrade visually?
If I had already played the game, no, I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, see, like, Nick and I have already played it, so we don't have that much of a reason. Like, could you imagine me, you, Nick, John, and Bremen just playing Borderlands? Like, that'd be the shit.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, I mean, like, man, like, we had a lot of fun with Destiny when we all played it.
I love Borderlands. Borderlands is another one of my favorite video game franchises.
Oh.
But I'm excited for Borderlands 3 whenever that decides to come out.
Oh. So, yeah, I like Borderlands 3, that looks cool. I like, once again, I haven't played that much of the pre-sequel, but by the time this fucking Handsome Jack collection is out, the PC version of that game is going to be so cheap, and the PC version already looks like the next generation console version. So,
Well, we'll see. It could be like Tomb Raider where it looks better than the PC, maybe.
yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't think Borderlands is the type of game to have that kind of visual upgrade. I don't see Gearbox doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Watermaster says, I want an upgraded PS4 so we can buy a new one, let's say every 2 to 3 years to upgrade our games. That'd be amazing. I think
that's pretty much where you're wanting to be in the PC market, because the thing is that the benefit of consoles that developers get to optimize on the same hardware for years. They change it every 2 to 3 years, that would really segment the market, and at that point, it kind of takes away the convenience of console gaming.
like if you want the best graphics, the absolute best visuals, and you don't mind upgrading hardware every 3 to 4 years, then you should absolutely be playing games on a PC. Like that's, like, that's what you just described as a PC, man. Every 2 to 3 years, upgrade our games. That'd be amazing. So.
Okay.
Cool.
Anthony, you?
What I want to
that reminds us, NVIDIA announced a new graphics card. You want to talk about that briefly, Anthony?
Yeah, just very, very briefly. So there's
as long as we're talking about real quick, as long as we're talking about PC gaming, TGA's 2011 Game of the Year, Portal 2, is $5 on Steam right now.
Ooh.
Oh.
And
it's a Source Engine game, so it doesn't need much to run.
Yeah,
Right.
And Walking Dead Season 2 is $6.24. Steam sales, yay.
Cool.
Right.
Cool.
Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, NVIDIA has a new graphics card now. It's the GTX 960. So as the number suggests, it is the step below the 970, but it costs $200. But the problem with it, I feel, is they took it a step too far down. Because it used to be in the past, the 970 was your $350 card, and the 960 was your $250 to $300 card. But they kind of bumped it down to $200, and the performance looks a little underwhelming, if I'm honest, for my opinion. Yes, it's $200, but you'd think a 960 would do more. So if you're in the market for a $200 graphics card, you can get this one. And, well, AMD is an option also.
Based off what you've seen, Anthony, will it run a majority of what would you say it run the majority of the games on, and will it support the ability to run any games on max settings?
My guess, and you people are free to correct me if I'm wrong, 1080p gaming on max or near max settings is
Because here's
what it is right now, I think.
Because so my laptop has the desktop equivalent of a 650 Ti. And most modern games I get at max 1080p 30 frames. The occasional lucky game I get at 60, but most of them are running 30. So this thing should easily be able to do most modern games currently at that rate.
1080p on
how will it
high.
do with The Witcher 3 though? That's the question.
Yeah, see, The Witcher 3 is just, I don't know. I look at that spec sheet and I think, oh, are these guys trying to be the next Crisis, or are they actually do need that much power? It's pretty
Remember
interesting.
when Crisis came out, the max settings? for
Everyone
Crisis?
talked about can it run
hold on,
Crisis.
I'm pulling up I'm pulling up Crisis right now. Give me a second. Because I remember when Crisis came, I remember when that game came out, game trailers didn't give it best graphics from a technical standpoint because none of their machines could run it at the time.
Yeah.
So this is back in late 2007. It needed a Core 2 Duo at 2.2 gigahertz, 2 gigabytes of RAM, and an NVIDIA GeForce 8800 GTS.
Yeah, that's some really high-end stuff at the day. That was like the, quote, graphics benchmark, unquote, at the time. It literally made everything on your computer just bake itself.
To put this in perspective, at the time, I had a relatively somewhat capable, gaming rig. I was rocking a Pentium 4, so my processor was a little outdated, at 2.8 gigahertz. I was running a gig of RAM and a Radeon Sapphire X1650, which would later cook itself to death because it was a piece of garbage. Actually, that's actually not a lie. It ran games very well at the time. It was just faulty part. But it is the thing that has turned me off from Radeon cards. Or AMD now, sorry.
No. Okay, so I'm looking at some charts. I'm sorry.
I was about to read the recommended specs for Witcher 3, how fucking insane this is. Intel i7 3770 at 3.4 gigahertz.
That's an Ivy Bridge i7, okay.
Which I'm not, like I said, I'm not super technical, but when it comes to gaming, isn't most of it the graphics card?
Usually your bottleneck is the graphics card, yes. I mean, you still need a good processor because it needs to calculate all the physics to update itself.
AI
before it gives itself to the graphics card, but usually an i5 usually works just fine.
I'm trying to remember what runs off the processor. AI, physics,
basically telling their video card to refresh, basically.
Yeah.
Updating positions. It's basically updating the world. That's what the CPU does. It updates the world, and the graphics card draws the world. So basically anything world related, whether the character is going to make this sound effect or make this particular animation or do, this type of lighting with this kind of effect, the CPU basically knows the world through its memory and that kind of stuff. The GPU draws that world to the screen. Or at least I think that's how it... Nowadays, they try to put more CPU stuff into the GPU, so the CPU has more room to do stuff. I don't know. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a computer graphics expert.
RAM needs 8 gigs, which I feel that's standard.
8 gigs is cheap.
That's the minimum for most gaming rigs now. Like, you and I are going to be discussing building John a capable rig for video editing, and we're going to try and sneak in a decent video card. And 8 gigs is I won't let us have anything less than 8 gigs when building a machine. And then the operating system has to be 64-bit Windows 7 or better, which okay, that makes sense. Video card. So Nick, I hate to break it to you, but your 660 finally does no longer cut it.
But wait, is this for minimum or recommended?
This is recommended.
Oh, okay.
Though for your video card is the minimum for this game. Just so you know.
Oh, really?
You have a regular 660 or do you have a TI?
It's a TI.
Okay, then yours is a little better than what's the minimum. And then, but the recommended is an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 770. Fucking,
What does that card go for?
Well,
That's
the
like-
if you buy it used, you probably can get it for like 300 or 280 to 300, I think.
I'll check Amazon right now.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I mean, it's outdated at this point. You would rather buy a 970, but yeah. But okay. So yeah. those
Okay,
specs
so
are
I just
bad.
looked up 770. New ones go for about 350. Used ones go between 250 to 300.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And for comparison's sake, a new 970
Is 350.
is 350. So why the fuck would you buy that new?
No, MSRP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But so yeah.
and a 970, if you put a 970 in a machine right now, you're gonna be set. I wonder what a 980 would be right now. Hello. A 980 at minimum, you're gonna be paying $550.
Yeah. That's the flagship
Nuts.
so far. Hey,
And
do you know
that's-
there's going to be a Titan X coming out soon? Yes, Nvidia still insists that Titan is a thing.
Oh, also, the NVIDIA, the fucking 980 is so huge, it has 2 fans built into it.
Oh yeah, you have to cool the thing too. I mean, it uses a lot less electricity, but yeah, those things need giant fan solutions because the memory gets hot, this GPU gets hot. Yeah.
More and
So-
more people are moving to liquid cooling. Like, I was,
I don't trust. Look, I don't trust myself to do liquid cooling, and even if a professional did, I don't trust the long-term reliability of liquid cooling.
Here's the thing, it depends on who does it. If Moondog or Origin PC do it, I am A-okay with it. If you or I do it, I don't trust it because you and I are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I remember my first fucking computer, like, it took me forever to get the processor in because the pins were bent. And then what was that? You fucked up the RAM, right?
Yeah, I didn't
building
exactly
your
see it in
machine?
I didn't see it in 100%. It kept beeping, and I was freaking out. And then I found out I just have to take the sticks out and then stick it back in, and then I'm
Yeah,
fine.
so I mean, we can't even do the simple shit. So I would dare if John comes to us and says, "I want to put in liquid cooling," I'd be like, "Great, go to my employer." Because God no. Speaking of PC
But,
game, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just kind of want to get the 960 stuff out of the way before we're way too late. Anyway, you need something to say?
Oh, I was gonna say, I was looking at Origin's desktops the other day because we're getting our tax returns soon. I have just completely decided against getting a desktop PC right now. But I decided, what would it cost me? First off, the answer was too much money compared to what I'd be paying if I was building it. And second off, man, their cases and systems are beautiful. Like, they are gorgeous. Yeah, like those. I want them to sell their cases. Like, this is another, I think Alienware's new case looks awesome on the inside, but the outside is ugly as hell. This just looks awesome in general. And they do the Falcon Northwest thing where you get custom paint. And they also do and the difference between this and Alienware, I think you would like this, Anthony, because like if you just set this on your desk, other than the fact that it's really big, people probably would just think it's a regular computer.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, it's really big, and also the glass on the side, you can obviously turn lights on or off or make them change colors. I know in the video I was watching about it, like they made the lights change color and flash. I was just like, this is so fucking unnecessary. You can also get 64 gigs of RAM in one of these.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know why you would need that.
If you were a super high-end 3D graphics or like really high-end video or you'll be surprised who needs 64 gigabytes, and I imagine there's like, it's not for the gaming enthusiasts, it's for like those really high-end professional users, like probably engineers. Engineers probably do need 64 gigabytes of RAM for those gigantic building schematics they have. That's where you would probably need it.
That would be like the only thing I could think of, right? Like,
yeah, but then again, they still offer as an option because there are clients out there who do
future-proofing, though.
Yeah, but an i7 today needing 64 gigabytes of RAM in the normal use, nah. But for professional use, like, again, the engineers, the graphics, like super high-end 3D graphics, the CG people, they probably need that.
Yeah, like
freaking video editing, like I have 16 gigs of RAM in my system and already it just kind of eats it up pretty easily. And I just like do basic renders. What if it was like After Effects? What if it was some CG program? It's going to need way more than 16 gigs.
Anthony, this is why I'm saying you should do something stupid like getting 32 gigs of RAM.
Well, I wish I could, but my motherboard can't support anymore. So it's stuck with, I think it's 16, right?
See, this is why I'm glad I didn't build a desktop when I got my last computer, is shit like this. Because I am one of those people that, like, I want to...
need more.
Like, I just need horsepower. It's like, why? Fuck it, I don't know. I fucking need to upgrade this computer.
It just needs to be better.
It can
do more.
It can be a better machine.
You never know. You need it. I mean, like, I already am paying the price of being cheap because at the time I built my system, a 550 Ti did everything I wanted it to, and now I'm paying the price because now I have to upgrade the darn thing.
Yeah, but like,
it was cheap early on.
Yeah, you'll throw but like, you'll throw something new in it for relatively cheap now, and it'll blow it away.
Yeah, but the 960, that's a potential candidate. So the 960, it is like a third slower than a 970, which is a bit of an alarming drop if you were to ask me, because this is why I feel like it's underwhelming. Yes, it's $200, but I just kind of feel like NVIDIA wasn't taking... I feel like what they're going to do is that when AMD comes out with a new chip or some new performance tweaks, and, you know, somehow beat the 960 for performance per dollar, NVIDIA is just going to be like, okay, we're going to tweak it a little bit, give it a nudge, and call it a 960 Ti for $250. They're going to do that because freaking the gap between the 970 and 960 is like way too much for my liking, and it just feels underwhelming. I mean, I was actually expecting a 250 card, and I would be like, you know what, this will be the graphics card that will go in my system. And now that I look at it, it's like, and how good is it? Well, it can run today's games on max or nearly max setting at about, I'd say 30 to 45 frames a second, which means that it is totally good for today.
So
at
guys,
1080p.
Just real quick thing, I just priced what my dream build for an Origin PC would be, just for fun. $2,559.
Good luck.
Fucking Jesus. Now, this thing, though, here's the thing. This thing is a fucking monster. Alright, so it's liquid cooled. So, hold on one sec. It's liquid cooled. It has an i7 4790 at 3.6 gigahertz. It has hold on. It has an 850 watt power supply and a 1970 16 gigs of RAM, but I opted for like 2100 megahertz, so super high end RAM, and a 240 gig SSD and a 1 terabyte regular hard drive. Oh,
that'd be nice.
Fucking and a Blu-ray player because I was like, fuck it, why not? And built-in wireless. So, like, goddamn. Yeah, man. No thanks. I'll build.
How much do you think it cost you to build that?
I think I did that as an experiment earlier. Like, I think you can trim $400 to $600 off.
Yeah, that's about my ballpark estimate too.
Yeah, and if you're really gunning for it, like just trying to save and you really like shop correctly, you probably cut up to like 7 to 8 if you just like really check your stores and are thorough.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And if you're someone like John and you don't want to build it, but you have friends who know what they're doing, you just pay them, to do it for far cheaper because Anthony and I aren't going to charge $400.
Yeah, you say that.
You say that, because Anthony. um. So, other question is: don't think upgraded hardware is possible, but how much better do you expect graphics to get past Infamous, Far Cry, and even Uncharted? I think that, like, first off, I've always been the type of like good art is better than technical prowess. Like, I always think tech is really impressive because it is. Like, good tech in games is super impressive. But I was way more wowed by Transistor's visual look last year than anything like Far Cry. But I would say that we're gonna have this year, and then the year after, and then it's gonna be very minimal improvements till the next generation of consoles, except on the PC, of course. Like I'm talking about on consoles. Gentlemen.
Yeah, I think that they will obviously they'll get better. I just don't think we're gonna see the jump. Like for example, the PlayStation 3, like the jump from between Uncharted and Uncharted 3 was so freaking big, it's ridiculous. I don't think we're gonna see.
Or go look at like Halo 3 and then Halo 4, Halo Reach. Like huge.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we're gonna see as big a difference because these consoles are pretty much like PCs. So I think these developers are getting a lot out of the hardware already. But who knows? I definitely think they'll get better though. I mean, we've just pretty much wrapped up the first year and look at some of the graphics we got. So where we'll be in 3 or 4 years, who knows? I mean, Killzone Shadowfall is a freaking launch game and still one of the best looking games out. So we'll see.
I think it depends on a few things. Like with the PS3, the PS3 is a great example, or maybe it isn't a great example because when the PS3 came out, nobody knew how to do anything on it. So things didn't look too great or ran too great. Like first thing that comes to mind, Resistance 1. Fall of Man, right?
Yeah. Like,
Resistance 1, I looked at it and it's like, this is the big launch title for the PS3, and I just looked at it and I'm just like, dear goodness, the amount of gray, the animation, I just did not like how it looked at all, and I thought this is what the PS3 does.
You do that, then you lower Resistance 3.
Whoa. Can everyone hear me just fine?
Yeah, I hear you, bro. It's Bronson again.
Oh joy. But I was like saying, yeah, like with the PS3 is probably not the best example because when it first came out, nobody knew how to work with Cell, even though it's supposed to be this new supercomputer that needed a super genius to do stuff on it. So maybe that's not the best example. 360 is probably a better example because with the 360, it's like looking at the difference between Forza 2 and Forza 4. I think that's a good example. Car games. Forza 2, it looked good at its time, but it looks pretty good for its time. And then you look at Forza 4, and you can see a difference for sure, but it isn't like a big leap. It's like we finally figured out how to get the most out of the system. So it's like a gradual improvement of figuring out little tricks, doing this little thing, doing that little thing. So you got from Forza 2 to 4.
Hey guys,
PlayStation was awkward because of Cell.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that because this is x86 and something everyone knows how to work on and it's been around forever, like I think we're gonna get like 2 or 3 years of steady good development and then kind of a drop off. I actually think I'm actually kind of more excited about the Wii U in the area of graphics. It's like, well, this is kind of like shit that they need to
I mean,
get
like
used
Super Mario
to.
3, yeah, like Super Mario 3D World is, well, it's not exactly the biggest, grandest thing they made.
But it looks really pretty.
I mean,
They gave-
freaking.
Like
But
that fur, that
what's
cat
the next
fur.
Zelda game gonna do?
Yeah,
Because
like,
no one knows their hardware. Because no one knows their own hardware better than Nintendo. So
you know, like
maybe that came out wrong. It's just like Nintendo knows the Wii U best because they're the ones who literally made the system, and their entire hardware team probably sits within, commuting distance within their software team, and because it is all within the same company, and they can make a Zelda game, they know all the little tricks that it takes to make those weird asymmetric power PC processors click. That architecture still blows my mind. Not even the L2 cache is symmetric. It's just weird.
Yeah, and you've seen Nintendo's games like Smash and like Mario Kart and Mario and Pikmin. They all look gorgeous. Even even games that Nintendo helped with, like Wonderful 101 Bayonetta, look great. Bayonetta looks like you could probably use the anti-aliasing pass, but they're kind of pushing that they're pushing that system as far as it can go because they need that game to run at 60 frames.
Looks great for 60 frames.
Game looks so fucking good.
I mean, freaking, like, we talk about a lot, we bash the Wii U for it being underpowered and not matching up to the other competitors. That's why it's part of the reason why it's sagging in sales, but it's a native 1080p system.
Yeah, and
that's the thing. It's like, yeah, but it's not Wii outdated. Like the Wii was really outdated already because HD was here, but the Wii can only do enhanced definition TV. But here we have the Wii U. It can do 1080p just natively, just like the PS4 and Xbox 360. It's just like some games like Mario Kart just run some weird resolution or something. Anyways, yeah, so there's that.
Cool.
all right.
Anything else?
Hold on, I'll double check. I'll do one last refresh of the page to double check. Make sure
Nick, is Bronson sounding okay to you?
Yeah, he's chopping out.
I can understand those 2 seconds.
Yeah.
The internet.
Oh my god! Fuck! God damn it!
Well, it's
Bronson,
working
I'm gonna
now.
upgrade your
It
internet.
comes back right when Bronson is cursing the storm.
I'm gonna
Yeah, that's
fucking
when it usually comes back.
I'm gonna fucking murder everyone at Charter Communications. God damn it! Is it better?
Yeah,
it's better now.
it's okay now.
Yeah, no new questions. Go listen to the Gamecast also, even though I don't recommend this week, I recommend the week before. Check out our 60-minute access. We did Heroes of the Storm beta with Arthas, Anthony, and Tychus Bronson. Wonderful 101, we're playing through that for our Let's Play. It's going a lot better than Okami ever did. Yeah, so I believe that's all. See you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back.